Freedom, man. That's what it's all about. You've got to groove on freedom, like the good book says.
Welcome. You are listening to What on Earth is Happening. This show will discuss the topics of human consciousness, mind control, natural law, the occult, and all issues that affect the freedom of the people of Earth. What on Earth is Happening will endeavor to shine light upon the darkness of our world and to offer empowering solutions to the problems we face as humanity approaches its critical moment of choice. And now, here is your host, Mark Passio.
Welcome, one and all. You're watching What on Earth is Happening. I'm your host, Mark Passio. My website, whatonearthishappening.com. Ladies and gentlemen, government is slavery. And here on What on Earth is Happening, we are ending slavery one mind at a time. Welcome, one and all, and thank you for tuning in today. Today is Sunday, February 6th, 2022. The show is live from January through June, every Sunday at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern U.S. time. Today's episode is episode number 241, and our topic for today's show is shadow work, exposing the psychological fear factors that stop us from beginning in the great work. And this is probably going to be a first of a series of shows on shadow work. I don't know if I'll do them all together, back to back, but we will have a large topic on the show of shadow work, and there'll be some future shows on this topic as well. So this is going to be the first shadow work, What on Earth is Happening show, and you hear a lot about this topic, especially in spiritual and New Age circles and communities. But I don't think you're going to quite hear about this form of shadow work related to doing the great work and what is holding people back from speaking out. And that's really going to be the topic of today's show, and how fears about our own inadequacies stop us from ever beginning and make us remain, as the dark occultists refer to most people, as the unbegun. So that's coming up very shortly on What on Earth is Happening. Let's jump over to my laptop and my slides for today. I have a few quick housekeeping announcements to make. Of course, this is the artwork for today's show. Thank you to Will Keller for the podcast art. And let's jump into some housekeeping announcements. Let me start off with some bad news. As I told people that there probably would be, as of last week, I saw this coming, and indeed, Patreon has banned me. So not only am I now banned from PayPal, but I'm also banned from Patreon. And I haven't even gone deep into uncovering the whole scamdemic, the whole plandemic/scamdemic. I've just referred to it as a psyop. I haven't even gone into deep aspects of it. I've simply told my take that this is a psychological warfare operation waged against the American public, and anybody who's really buying into it is a fearful child, because you don't understand how the government, how secret societies, how intelligence agencies that are the dark occult orders of our world in the modern day operate, and the psyops that they perform to get the public to believe what they want. And that's all this whole modern, so-called pandemic is. It's just a psychological warfare op, just like 9/11 was a psychological warfare op. And people still can't see it, and they still buy into it because they're fearful children, cosmic children that have never grown into psychological adulthood, that will believe whatever they're presented as long as it comes from a so-called authority figure, because again, they're not grown up enough to employ the trivium method and determine the truth for themselves. And this is what Patreon is. This is what the people who work at Patreon are. You're psychological infants. You don't understand the world that is taking place around you. You don't understand your own inner world. You have no idea about how the human psychology works. The highest up levels of this organization probably take their marching orders directly from dark occultists and or secret society and or intelligence agency assets or agents. And they don't give a rat fuck about what is right or wrong. You are human vermin. You are Nazi trash. You are communist trash. You're authoritarian trash. You're the destroyers of freedom. You're the destroyers of free speech. You're immoral garbage as human beings. And your parents were immoral garbage as human beings because they gave birth to children that they didn't give a rat fuck about morally educating. And that's who you are as human beings. That's who you are deep in your rat fuck black heart. And I'm not going to make any bones about it, trash. You're Nazi scumbags. You're communist fucking scumbags. And you're not going to tell somebody who knows what's operating in this world, who understands the level of evil operating in this world, that my worldview is wrong and yours is right, because you're an ignorant scumbag fuck. And I'm correct. So go ahead and ban me. You won't stop me. You could ban everybody from your platform. You're not stopping me from speaking, you rat fucking garbage. And for anybody that thinks this isn't the proper emotional reaction, there's something wrong with you, boy! There's something wrong with you, little girl! You're the problem because you don't get emotionally involved enough to care about doing something. You haven't transmuted that anger into right action. That's the problem. And I have. So don't tell me about how to do it. I know exactly what I'm doing and how to do it. There's nothing wrong with me. There's wrong with people who don't give a fuck about censorship. There's wrong with people who don't give a fuck about the continuing encroachments on our freedom. You have the problem. You're emotionally stunted. You don't have the right sacred anger to do something. That's the problem. Don't tell me it's my problem. No, I'm correct. And mine is the correct emotional reaction to what's taking place in this rat hole. Let's get that straight. And let's get it straight that if you're a new viewer to this show, you shouldn't be watching now. That's your problem. That's you doing things in the wrong order. Go back to number 1 and listen and watch in order and keep your mind volume at a low level so you learn something. Because that's the problem with even the viewers of this show. You don't listen. You don't learn. You're too up here. You haven't learned how to quiet that and listen to wisdom. That's why most of you ain't doing shit. You're kicking back, you're watching it like it's a fucking movie, and it ain't. It requires your personal participation. So, this is what they're doing. It's an ongoing effort to bankrupt people, to de-bankroll them, to make sure that they can't fund their operation. And I told you already in the last couple of weeks, folks, I can no longer really fund What on Earth is Happening. I'm being honest with you. I don't care who thinks that that's embarrassing. I don't really give a fuck. I'll air out dirty laundry. I've done it before. I'm not some proud motherfucker that sits back saying, you can't find any chinks or weakness in my armor. I'm a real human being going through real problems like everybody else is. And this is what they're doing. They're defunding people's operations. Now, this isn't going to stop me. I'm going to keep speaking even if I have to go back to an audio-only podcast with no streaming where I might have to pre-record and then just upload later. Who knows? That might be what on earth is happening goes back to, you know? But I'll still have the technology to do that. But let me tell you something, folks. This operation is in severe jeopardy. That's all I can say. I don't know how many weeks I'll be able to continue doing this. Again, I've told people I'm having other problems that may have me out of a house very shortly. So I may not even be at this location anymore, which has been even just fortunate for me to be at. And I may have to go and either find something ultra small, back to, when I was living out of one room and not really doing much of anything because I was so cramped, I couldn't even do anything practically. Or I might have to even temporarily move in with family members. So I don't even know what's going to go on in my personal future as living situation goes. And part of it is I can't fund my operation anymore because of these Nazi scumbag motherfuckers who think they're doing something good. And you're not. You're all Nazi trash. This is exactly what the Nazis were like. They're good little fucking rat order followers that don't care about what's right or wrong, that go and listen to authority figures and just do the authoritarian trash that they're told to do, the authoritarian immoral actions that they're commanded. That's how you're Nazis. You may not be killing Jews, not now, but you are doing the same thing the Nazis did. You're doing the same thing the authoritarian communists did. You're doing the same thing any trash authoritarian figure did throughout human history. You're following your orders. Medical people are following their orders. Pharmaceutical people are following their orders. People in government are following their orders. People in big tech are following their orders. And you're not doing what's right. You're doing what is wrong. You are trying to silence, through defunding them, a moral human being that is speaking out against tyranny. I'm trying to help you by helping to secure your freedom. And what are you doing? You're helping the tyrants. That's an authoritarian piece of Nazi fucking scum. And that's what you are, people who work for Patreon, people who work for organizations like PayPal or GoFundMe. And you're doing it in a totally partisan manner because the new Nazi party that's rising up, the new communist party that's rising up is the Democratic Party. And guess what? I'm not picking up for Republicans. Don't think that I'm on that side of the aisle either. It's all bullshit. It's all Hegelian dialectic to keep you in slavery. But let me tell you what's starting to emerge as the one party that cannot be challenged, and that is this rat so-called woke that's bastardizing the definition of woke. They may be woke from a programmed point of view, but they're not awakened to any true level of consciousness. And that's the people in the far left Democratic Party in America. And that's who Patreon's a part of, taking their marching orders from China probably, or taking their marching orders from some intelligence agency or think tank. And you guys are immoral fucking filth. And here's the problem. Most people won't just come out and tell you that to your face. You had trash for upbringing. Your parents were garbage. Your parents were immoral fucking filth just like you. That's the real answer. That's the truth of the matter. So I want everybody who has followed me on Patreon and supported me on Patreon, you got to pull your funding from Patreon, especially from my page. If you keep trying to put it in there, I'm not even going to vouch for the safety of any of those funds. I take no responsibility because I'm off this platform. Okay? So you cannot continue to put money in the account that you were helping fund my operation month after month, because it's not going to go to me. And I don't know if Patreon's going to just absolutely fucking steal that money. I wouldn't put it past them. So anybody that's participating in government-inspired censorship, government-commanded censorship, authoritarian censorship, I wouldn't support them with one penny in any aspect, no matter what platform you want to support. It's an unstable platform that they could steal from you at any given second. They could steal the funds you're putting in through them. So I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw their whole fucking corporate headquarters. And I would pull my support from operations that are doing this to people. Not just because it's happening to me. Anybody who's doing censorship like this, people shouldn't be supporting them. That's why stop supporting YouTube. Take your Stop putting, what do you call it? Monetizing your channels. All you're doing is paying YouTube's sponsors by doing that. That's it. And you're helping fund them through blood money. I challenge all people on the YouTube platform to defund their whole platform. Demonetize it. Keep your information on there for educational purposes, but demonetize your channel. And then let's see how you fund your operation. So I'm moving on into other areas. Like I still have ways of donating to me. But let me tell you something, folks. We're being increasingly pushed back and pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And the only option, the only real recourse is becoming cryptocurrency. And I've been an advocate of cryptocurrency, not saying it's like somehow the savior of the universe. But people have to start understanding crypto and using it on an everyday basis. And this community is still totally ignorant in that. Almost everybody I talk to in this element of the freedom community, from the perspective of people who really know my work and know consciousness, they're technically absolutely illiterate. They're totally dumbasses when it comes to technology, which is why I teach the How to Become the True Media seminar, to try to educate people who remain dumbasses in their skill sets when it comes to tech and don't understand it and fear it because they don't understand it. Let me tell you something. People like that are fucking idiots because they don't understand the method that's going to get the word out, and they don't understand the method that's going to help fund people who are getting the word out. They want to believe intelligence operatives to come on social media and tell you that crypto is the mark of the beast. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about because you're a technological fucking retard. That's the answer to that. That's the truth of the matter. Okay? Get as fucking offended about it as you like. I don't give a fuck who I'm offending, whether I'm friends with you or not. Whether you like me before, you don't like me now, I could give a fuck. That's the truth of the matter. The problem is, when it comes to tech, you're just dumb, son. You're just dumb. And that's all there is to it. And you got to get educated. You got to turn your fucking ignorance around and commute it into fucking actual intelligence so that you could use it for the right reasons in the world, to do the right things with that technology. No, you got people in this community who are total fucking imbecile Luddites. They don't know the first thing about the first fucking thing when it comes to the tech world. And they think they're helping. You're fucking Ralph Wiggum with your fucking goddamn finger up your fucking nose. Okay? That's what you are. Saying, I'm helping. You're not helping shit. You don't know how to help. That's the answer. That's the truth of the matter. Get used to it. I'm going to be as harsh as I ever was when it comes to telling people the truth about where they're fucking at in their fucked up mentality. So as you can tell, I'm a little fired up today. It's not going to deter me, Nazi scumbag fucking trash at Patreon and PayPal. You're not going to stop this one. You're out of your fucking gourd if you think you're going to stop this one. You don't know who you're fucking dealing with, Nazi scumbag fucking trash. Communist scumbag fucking trash. You don't know who you're dealing with. Your parents fuck you up, boy. Your parents fuck you up, little child. They were Nazi trash and communist trash. Your parents were fucking scum. That's the truth. They didn't teach you morality, you fucking piece of dirt. And guess what, folks? This is what spirituality really is. This is telling people how much they're fucked up. And if you're not doing that, you don't understand. You don't yet understand. And you think you do. You don't understand shit. I'm so tired of this community. I'm so sick of you. You're know-nothings. You haven't grown. You haven't worked yourself. You're sitting on your fucking ass, doing nothing, watching reality like it's some fucking movie, and it's not. It ain't a fucking movie to watch and say, let me observe and see how this turns out. You're a fucking participant in life, dumbass. I've created a page on Subscribestar. They claim that they're anti-censorship and are appalled at the censorship policies that are taking place. That's what they claim right on their front page. So I've created a Subscribestar account. You could donate to me at Subscribestar. Subscribestar.com/Mark Passio. If you are so inclined to make a donation through Subscribestar, you can go and do that at that page. I put it on my donation page on What on Earth is Happening, and I put it on the donation page on the One Great Work Network. Subscribestar.com/Mark Passio. Once again, I don't care who I offend. I'll lose all my subscribers by telling the truth if I have to. I'm not interested in how much money comes in. I require those resources to continue the operation in the form that it exists. That is true. That's not a bullshit story. That's reality. That's true. But guess what? If it means me not telling the truth and the operation gets defunded, then I'm not doing that. To maintain funds and blow smoke up people's ass, I will not do. If I tell the truth and you get offended and you don't want to support me, so fucking be it. I'll be bankrupt. This show will not be able to continue, but I'll still speak the truth, motherfucker. You're not going to stop me from doing that. I don't care if I'm an old poor man in a fucking gutter. If that's what the universe has chosen for me, then so be it. That's what will occur, and I'll still be speaking truth in the fucking gutter. Nobody's going to tell me what to fucking say. Not this one. You don't own me, boy. You don't own me, little fucking shithead girl. You don't know what you're fucking talking about, and I do. The people who want to deplatform people. You haven't looked into shit about this world. So let's see if Subscribestar is true to their word on their front page of their site that says they're not going to deplatform people. They're not going to censor people from saying what they want to say because they believe in freedom of speech. Well, we'll hold you to that. Let's see if it's true. Or let's see if you're Nazi scum and communist scum. Because that's what almost all the other funding platforms are. PayPal, Patreon, GoFundMe, you're all Nazi and communist fucking trash scumbags. And history is going to record that. History is going to tell the truth about that. You're not going to escape that karma, motherfuckers. That'll be recorded and etched into the systemic living memory of creation. And you'll be held accountable for your actions by creation. You may not think that that's how it works, but that's how it works. You'll find out. You'll draw your last breath one day with a horror-stricken look in your eyes. I'm going to be very peaceful when that day comes. Because I know I did what I was meant to do here. I fulfilled my purpose. With courage. I'm not a fucking coward like the people at fucking PayPal, Patreon, and GoFundMe. You're scumbag, immoral, trash cowards. And guess what? I don't need to do a fucking thing to people like that. Living as yourselves is your own punishment. Because the worst punishment I could imagine is being somebody like that. Imagine being a piece of fucking garbage like you. Wow. That would be the hell of all hells. So, I've added Subscribestar to my donation methods. Let's see if it holds. They hold true to their word. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's see if it is true that they are anti-censorship. Of course, weeks ago, we moved to the new What on Earth is Happening 3.0 streamlined platform where I'm running without a crew. I'm running solo. And it's been going fairly well. I'm happy with how the shows have been going. We're running on a 6-month on, 6-month off schedule from January through June. July through December, I teach the How to Become the True Media seminar to try to educate some of the Luddites out there. And it's not all Luddites that attend the class. I don't want to be too harsh on people. It's people who want to learn and who unfortunately haven't begun truly learning technology and how to put the word out through technology. You look at what I'm doing every week, folks. Streaming live on What on Earth is Happening, One Great Work Network, a whole network of over 50 content creators that I help to inspire and create. We're streaming live on Twitch. We're streaming live on Telegram. We're streaming live on traditional platforms like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, DLive. All of those platforms, this show is simulcast on. And, that's how you get the word out. That's how you put it out there. You learn how to do this, and then you put it out there on whatever basis you want, on whatever, timeline you want. You do it in your own time frame according to you getting your material organized and together and formalized and putting it out into the world. That's how you do the one great work. And I personally love highlighting other people who do the one great work. When I recognize really great work that's out there, I want you guys to know about who those people are, who those other content creators are. And to that effect, I created the One Great Work Network. You could visit it at onegreatworknetwork.com. We have 53 awesome content creators on the platform. That's, of course, including myself and 52 other content creators. You can go to their blog page by just clicking their avatar, their content creator avatar on the site, and you see all the articles that they've put up, whether they're in the form of text and images or audio or video. We have tons of media on the site. Okay, so go up there, click into another content creator's blog. You could find a donation link for them on there. Support them because they need support just as much as I do to continue to fund their own operations. So please support the content creators at onegreatworknetwork.com. How to Become the True Media 2022 coming at you. 23-week intensive seminar hosted by me on the Telegram platform. Coming at you every Wednesday evening, 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time from July 13th to December 14th, 2022. That's a total of 23 class sessions. These are 3-hour intensive classes on technology, teaching everything from organizing your thoughts in a word processing document all the way up to streaming live on streaming platforms, doing a live video show like this. And everything in between, making graphics, making presentations, editing audio, editing video, making a podcast, etc. We teach it all. There's limited seminar space available in 2022. So when enrollment opens on April 1st, Friday, April 1st is when enrollment for the seminar will open. Secure your place in the seminar early. I'm going to be adding a method of donation through check and money order mailed to me for the How to Become the True Media 2022 seminar. And I'll have information about how you could join the seminar by a donation of check or money order to enroll in coming weeks. So visit howtobecomthetruemedia.com for more information on this great seminar coming up in July of this year. The What on Earth is Happening IPFS project is underway, has been underway since early January. We still have only one official node confirmed that is going to go live probably in the next couple weeks. It's starting slow, but hey, that's fine. I want it to go off to a slow start, but a good, strong start where it's technologically sound. I'd like to onboard at least 10 people before the end of the year. That was kind of my mental goal. If we reach it, we reach it. If not, then it'll continue at a very slow pace. But we're trying to create IPFS nodes in the manner that I feel is the right way to do it. That's what makes this the What on Earth is Happening IPFS project. So be aware there's rigid requirements, stringent requirements for becoming an official What on Earth is Happening node for my content on the IPFS distributed and decentralized network. That is not to say you can't host your own IPFS node. Anybody can do that anytime they want. But if you're going to have me as the technological guidance counselor, so to speak, to set up your node, and that's what this project is all about, then you can go to whatonearthishappening.com/IPFS and you can get the PDF document. You sign the form and you download the PDF document that tells you the preliminary requirements and equipment that would be necessary for the project. And then you make a determination whether you do want to proceed. You don't buy anything at that point. Do not buy equipment. I'm going to say this each week when I promote this. You don't buy any equipment until you are confirmed by speaking to me directly. Only then, when I say you're good to go, should any equipment be purchased. That should be clearly understood, that this is a preliminary form that you are filling, that you are looking at, getting in touch with me, and then we have a conversation, and I have to confirm whether you're really ready to begin doing this. I make that determination, and then I say, yes, you've met the technical requirements for doing this. Then we proceed with equipment. So just be aware of that. If you want to learn more about how the What on Earth is Happening IPFS project works, visit the website whatonearthishappening.com/IPFS for more information. Freedom Under Natural Law Conference is going to be coming at you next weekend. We're going to be simulcasting this on the One Great Work Network at onegreatworknetwork.com at the streaming player on the front page of the conference website. So, for more info on this, visit freedomundernaturallaw.com. This is next weekend, Saturday and Sunday, February 12th and 13th. It's billed as a free online conference to elevate the human experience for truth, freedom, and nature. Topics include natural law, consciousness, holistic health, spirituality, freedom, parenting, self-defense, and community. All great, absolutely worthwhile topics to explore. Very excited about this conference coming up. I think it's going to be great, hosted by other members of the One Great Work Network. So for more information, please visit freedomundernaturallaw.com and check out the conference streaming live on the One Great Work Network next weekend. More likely than not, I will be taking calls in the third hour of the show today through Discord. If you want to call in and bring up any comments or questions, you can visit whatonearthishappening.com/Discord. Or if you're watching at whatonearthishappening.com/show, you can go to the widget for the Discord server and hit the connect button, and you'll be connected in to the Discord server for What on Earth is Happening. So, those are all the housekeeping announcements I have. Let's jump into our material for today's broadcast, which is the first in I guess you could call it a sub-series here on What on Earth is Happening called Shadow Work. I'm going to probably do other sub-series podcasts. I'm going to have one called PSYOPs. We're going to do a whole series of shows called PSYOPs on What on Earth is Happening. This is the first in what I would call a sub-series called Shadow Work. So this introduces the Shadow Work series of broadcasts on What on Earth is Happening. And this isn't going to be like your new age so-called shadow work, folks. This is going to be real psychological, occult shadow work that I'm explaining to people the practical methods of how to do it and the consciousness that needs to underlie this type of shadow work. So I'm probably going to do another whole sub-series called Satanic Mindset. So think about these overarching series of shows that we're going to have on What on Earth is Happening. We're going to have a whole shadow work series. We're going to have a whole PSYOPs series. And I'm going to do a whole series called The Satanic Mindset of ... We're going to have the satanic mindset of people in the medical community. We're going to have the satanic mindset of software developers, which I've harped on so much. The whole software community, for that matter. I'm going to have a whole podcast, The Satanic Mindset of people in the martial arts community. You know, there's so many people that believe they're doing something that is good, and yet they're still in the mindset of Satanism. Still in the heart of Satanism. Because they don't understand what higher consciousness really looks like and acts like. They've believed a fairy tale about what that is. And that's what the Shadow Work series is all about. It's exposing your bullshit story to yourself. The bullshit story that you're still speaking through your lips, you're still speaking up here in your head, in your internal dialogue, and you're still telling yourself, because you still want to hear it. Some parts of you still want to hear bullshit Deep down in your psyche, you still want to take in bullshit. You still want to hear bullshit. And most of all, and most importantly, you still want to tell yourself bullshit. You still want to lie to yourself. And you're really good at lying to yourself. Most people in this world are fantastic self-liars. They're brilliant at lying to themselves. They'll make up the most ridiculous fucking nonsense just to lie to themselves and listen to their own bullshit. Anything but facing the truth inside their own selves. Anything but that. Death before that. Death before that. That is what the ego says. So, let me tell you something, folks. Even for long-time listeners, this isn't going to be easy for a lot of people to hear. As you could already tell, I'm already up in people's faces telling them things that they don't want to hear. The Shadow Work series is going to get very, very hard on you. I'm just letting you know that in advance. Because guess what? There's so many people out there that you think you know what's going on, and you think you're like, because you know, that's helping. Like I said, you're fucking Ralph Wiggum on The Symptoms with your finger in your nose up to the fucking hilt saying, I'm helping. You're not helping. You're a fucking piece of garbage that's doing nothing, that only gives a fuck about yourself. 95% of people are in that category or more. You're not helping. You're saying that you're helping. You believe in your own bullshit that you're helping. And you got no fucking skin in the game because you're a fucking coward. This is what you got to look at when it comes to shadow work. It's not just that. It's how much are you self-sabotaging yourself? How much are you fucking up yourself? This is what shadow work is exposing. How? Because you don't want to hear the truth about some aspect of reality because you think you know better. Are you fucking yourself up? See, folks, the whole thing about physician heal thyself. Take the big log out of your eye before you complain about my tiny little splinter. I've done this. I've done it. I'm not in the glass house throwing stones at the wall. You want to say I haven't done it? Go right ahead. It's untrue. I know the work that I've done. I know the hours that I've put in. I know the years that I've put in. You don't know what I've done or put in. You hear my anger and that makes you think I'm somehow all fucked up. You're wrong. And you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, boy. You don't know this one. Don't think you fucking know me because you don't fucking know me. Do you get it? Right out there, I'm telling my own listeners, you don't fucking know me. You don't know who I am. You don't know what I do on a fucking daily basis. At all. Not even a little bit. Don't come at me like you fucking know me or who I am, because you don't. You haven't seen shit about what I've done. You've seen the tiny little tip of the fucking iceberg that points out above the water level. And you haven't seen the colossal mountain that lies beneath the fucking surface. That's the work I've done. You think because you see what you see here on a weekly basis on the air represents the totality of my fucking work upon myself or influencing others? You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You haven't seen shit of what I've done. Let's get that clear and straight first before anybody starts complaining about me or my work. Secondly, I've told people I'm not interested in your criticism. When I'm interested in your fucking criticism, I'll ask for it. And I haven't asked for it. Before I even start in, I'm very happy to be able to report somebody showed me where you could turn comments off on Odyssey. They added it finally. It's buried way down in settings somewhere. I had to dig for it, but I found it. Settings are off. Comments are off in Odyssey. Because you know what? You know what? The people who post on other people's YouTube or Odyssey or any social media platforms, quite frankly, you're people who don't have your own work out. Your little shit-mouth, mealy-mouth little children that are spewing garbage nonsense that people don't want to hear and haven't asked for. I don't need your fucking comments. I don't need your criticism. I need your help in putting the great work out. And you're not doing it. You're bothering commenting on other people's fucking work instead of doing your fucking own because you're fucking know-nothings who haven't listened to anything that's been said since day one. And I'm supposed to be calm about it while the world's fucking burning. Yeah. Get the fuck out of here. Take your new age bullshit somewhere else. No, I'm speaking the fucking truth. Hardcore and out in the fucking open like a real man. You don't like it? Go fuck yourself. And folks, I said I was going to try to keep my anger down to a low rolling boil, but guess what? I'm done. I'm done with people. I'm sick of it. I'm fired up today. I don't want to hear other people's nonsense. I don't want to hear what they think they know when they haven't done shit. You got no skin in the game, little child. You got no skin in the game. If you don't know what that phrase fucking means, look it up. It means you ain't putting nothing on the line to make your little shit comment on a social media post. You ain't doing nothing. You think you're doing something. You're a mealy-mouthed little punk fucking loser child. That's what you are. Who's doing nothing in the world. Thinking that you're helping. And you ain't helping shit. And it doesn't matter how old you are. You could be 85 fucking years old. I'm talking to you. People who are older think they know somehow better and have more wisdom. It doesn't work out that way in the real fucking world. You could be 18 years old and you could be extremely wise. You could be 85 and you could be a dumb bag of shit. But here's the thing. Unless you've done this internal type of shadow work and you're honest with yourself, you got to look in your mirror and say, what have you really done? Have you really taken in the truth regarding what you need to take it in about? Are you ignoring whole fucking avenues, whole aspects of reality that you think you have something that you've understood and you haven't understood shit about it because you've not looked into it deeply enough. You haven't done enough fucking homework. You haven't done the aggregation of the grammar in the trivia method. You haven't even done step 1. And you want to think you're on to fucking helping, teaching the world when you don't even have the information aggregated. I see this in just about every aspect of the world. People who have a tiny little bit of knowledge about the occult and you think you understand it. People who have a tiny little bit of knowledge about health and you think you understand it. This is a huge thing. People thinking that they have it understood when it comes to what's going on with nutrition and the body and health, and they don't know fucking dick about it, is what they know. Then they're trying to tell other people how it fucking works or getting angry when people are laying out the fucking truth about how it really fucking works. People who want to say they know what spirituality is and they have no fucking idea. And they're teaching false bullshit variants, new age bullshit about real spirituality. Obfuscating the issue and making people fucking go down the wrong path. They're actually doing damage when it comes to that. This is what the whole new age community is doing. So let's get into this. Let's get into what real occult shadow work is about. And to understand it, you have to go back to basics, folks. You got to go back to the building blocks. That's why I say, even if you have watched What on Earth is Happening, the whole podcast series in order, all the way through, starting at number 1, if you've made it all the way through and you've heard my progression from a calm teacher into somebody who's raging about the injustice in our world and most of all, raging about the continued ignorance that's happening in this world. Especially from my viewing audience who thinks they understand. You don't understand because you're not doing it. Saying that you understand doesn't mean that you do. Work means that you do. Effort means that you do. Stopping making excuses means that you do. True beginning in the work means that you do. Internally and externally. Not just internally. It has to start internally. And people who say, oh, anybody who's they've worked upon themselves and healed themselves will never express anger. You're a false fucking teacher. You're wrong. You're incorrect. And your ego won't let you see it. Righteous indignation is part of spirituality. And people who haven't gotten it, who haven't listened to the power of me being within the spirit of truth and being this angry because of what people have done and fucked up the world. You don't get it. You're not in true spirit. You're not awakened. You're still blue-pilled. And you think you're red-pilled, but you're not. This is what I talked about when Brandon Spencer called into the show last week. people who think they're red pill and they're still firmly taking the blue pill. There's just a red coating on the top of it to get you to swallow it. And you think you're red pilled, you ain't red pilled for worth of shit. You're still swallowing the blue pill every fucking goddamn day. So even to people who have gotten it, you got to go back and review basics. Because people forget the basics all the time. When it comes to consciousness, there's only two forces operating in the world. There's fear and there's love. And we have to stop throwing around this word love in this wishy-washy, soft-ass fashion that means you're a weakling. Love is not unconditional. I care about everybody even if they're hurting me. That's bullshit. That's nonsense. That's new age garbage. That's false, fake-ass Christian garbage nonsense. You know what you're doing by saying that that's even what love is? You're aiding and abetting evil in the world to run rampant in the world. That's what you're doing. You're aiding and abetting. Let me say it again. If you think total unconditional love for people who are totally evil and destroying people's rights is something that you should be practicing in the world, you are an aider and an abetter of evil. You, yourself. I don't give a fuck whether you consider yourself Christian and you've bought into the notion that that's what Christianity is. You're totally fucking played, child. You're played by bullshit religion and bullshit New Ageism. You're played by it. And that's the problem. There's very little true discernment when it comes to this word. Let's re-examine these two polarities and get them straight and really deeply understand what they are. Fear, ultimately, is the contraction of consciousness. Fear is what makes people stay silent. Fear is what makes people not begin the one great work of changing their mindset truly. And then working in the world, in the very real physical reality, to influence others' minds to change as well, in the same ways. Fear is what leads to total cowardice. Fear is what leads to total inaction. Fear is what leads to earthly attachment, where you say, well, I can't do this because I got to worry about the money that I make in my job. I can't do this because I got to worry about maintaining relationships and family. Fear is what says, I can't do this because I got to worry about whatever other worldly attachments, career, money, etc. All it is a fucking excuse. And that's the first thing that has to be understood about doing shadow work. You got to get into the habit of hardcore telling yourself the fucking truth about yourself. Point the finger this way and be hard. This is what the pillar of severity on the tree of life is about. Harshness toward the self. Don't take any of your own bullshit. Don't take any of your own lies about yourself. Because we all do this way too often. We're good bullshit storytellers and we're good bullshit story swallowers. And this is all fear-based. See, how many people will come right out on the air and tell people about themselves? Tell people about how they were conned, how they were played, what their bullshit stories were to themselves. Not many people have that kind of courage. This is what I've been doing since day one here. That's why I'm saying, don't tell me about what I'm doing. I know exactly what the fuck I'm doing. Worry about what you're doing, motherfucker. And we're done being baby spoon feeding and being nice about it. I'm not that person anymore. I'm not wearing that mask anymore. I was always this person. That's what you guys got to fucking realize. I was always the harsh, nasty Mark Passio who's going to be an old crotchety fucking man. That was always who I was. I was wearing the mask to be nice enough to put the work out in the other way. So people would at least listen to it because they're too much of fucking babies to hear it out strong and out in the open. But true nonetheless. Most of all, what fear is the absence of the other polarity, love. If you're in fear, that means you're in a lack of love consciousness. And that doesn't mean wishy-washy, oh, let's swaddle them up and rock them like a little baby. That's not what this means, folks. You got to get it out of your head that this is what love is wishy-washy nicety. I'm not saying you can't experience that type of emotion in the world with people that you care about. I'm not knocking it. I'm saying that's not what it means. Capital L, capital O, capital V, capital E, in all fucking big caps, quadruple underline, as a cosmic force. You got to get that notion of love out of your head. That is familial love. That is philos. That is eros. Eros and philos at best. We're not talking about that. Here, when we're talking about the forces that ultimately create in the universe, the whole manifested condition of an entire species, we are talking about agape love. Agape means love in the wider consciousness sense, love for all, love for truth. We're not just talking about love between people. Of course, that's a dynamic that is important in life. You want to experience that? Experience it. Total attachment to it is part of the problem. Because then we have more loyalty to people than we do to principles and truth. And that's what shadow work is about, discovering. Are you in that attachment? Are you in that trap? And even if it means you have to forego relationships and friendships, it doesn't mean you can't have them. But you know what most people do? They make the relationship and the friendship and the familiarity, okay? They make that their sole fidelity, the thing that they are going to be so loyal to. And then when it comes to being loyal to truth or loyal to principles, loyal to higher consciousness, loyalness to truth, love, and freedom, true love and freedom, then they're out. They're nowhere to be seen. They have no skin in that game because they have the attachment to the other forms of love. And real shadow work is about making you re-examine these attachments. And I was talking about it earlier. I had read many reviews of this movie and never watched it in my whole life. And people have ultra strong feelings about this movie. I might break it down on a future show. They have no idea what it really means. It's The Last Temptation of Christ. And I just watched it actually last night because I read all these reviews about, oh, it's so horrible. Look at how it's depicting Jesus. It's a reinterpretation of the New Testament biblical allegory of Christ. Okay? Which again, I've talked about in ad infinitum. You don't need to believe in historicity, the actual historical existence of the figure of Jesus in the New Testament, to understand the allegorical importance of the New Testament story. So I'm not going to even get into that, breaking down religion and astrotheology. We've done it a billion fucking times here on What on Earth is Happening for people who haven't fucking listened. Okay, go back and watch and listen to the podcasts in order. Download the images. Go through it all. Read the books that we're pointed to. And then you'll have an understanding and you won't be a know-nothing who thinks you know something. So, this movie came out in the 80s and I've never seen it. Because I just thought it was some stupid religious movie until I understood what it's really about. By watching it and decoding the allegory, it's about attachment to the familial form of love. And not doing the cosmic form of love because you're attached to the familial form. This is the so-called last temptation brought to the biblical figure of Jesus in the movie by Satan. Satan tempts him with, you're going to live your life and die as a normal person, loved by family members, and die comfortably in your own home instead of on the cross. Of course, the cross is an allegory for doing the great work. It's also an allegory about dying on the cross of the zodiac because Jesus is the astrotheological figure of the sun who dies on the cross on the winter solstice in December and then rises up again after going through 3 houses of the zodiac and rising up again on the eastern horizon as the resurrected sun in the sky on the eastern horizon at the spring equinox. Astrotheology. Not that hard to understand, to decode. The movie shows how, this man displays his worldliness, wants the burden alleviated from him, And then this spirit comes to him and says, oh, you don't need to do that. You don't need to make that sacrifice of your life, Takes him down off the cross, brings him to a loving family that he lives out his whole days and is prepared to die. And Judas, of all people, is portrayed as the one who reminds him of what he's there to do, his purpose. Very similar to the Christian allegory of the Matrix, resurrection, And the Judas figure, again, that was the crew of the Mnemosyne. I couldn't remember the name, the Greek goddess of memory, the crew. The plaque references Mark 3:19, which is Judas, and that's the crew represents that. They're willing to make the sacrifice to do what needs to be done. So Judas is willing to turn in Jesus in the movie, and this is Jesus' own idea in the movie. I like the twists that are presented in it, but the reason I'm even bringing it up is because it is about the real form of love, the cosmic form of love, versus the familial form of love, which acts as a restraint, which acts as an attachment to worldly things, which we're going to talk about in this episode deeply. And if it goes longer than it goes, maybe we'll pick it up next week. It'll go as long as it has to. I'm going to say everything I want to say about it. I'm not going to rush this. Okay? So we have to understand what we're talking about when we talk about real love versus false love. Real love is the force that expands consciousness. It doesn't keep it in a cage. It doesn't try to curl it up and ball it up and keep it down. It wants higher levels of evolutionary development and differentiation and energy. It is the absence of fear from a cosmic perspective. It doesn't mean there's nothing you're ever anxious or angry about. It means that you're going to act in spite of those things, in spite of those reservations or hesitations. It means that the cosmic form of love overrules all of those fear factors and allows you to act in spite of them even being present. You transcend them. You overcome them. You push through them. You power through them. This is a repeated motif. You have to power through the things that hold you back. Fear leads to courage and inaction, and love leads to fear leads to cowardice and inaction, and true love leads to courage and right action. Fear is the force in the world of the occult that is known as involution. And involution is the force that stagnates consciousness, that prevents it from evolving and prevents it from moving forward and growing into higher forms and higher levels. Involution, they refer to this as in occult spheres of influence and thought. So if you ever see the word involution when you come across an occult tome or text, that's what it really is, the force of fear, holding everything back, making things stay anchored and stagnant and not moving forward, not progressing. And this is what our world is trapped in. Our world is trapped in this contraction of consciousness, low awareness, low information, the absence of true love, of care for principles, care for what is right, care for freedom, leading the whole species into cowardice, into inaction, not taking any right action. And therefore, as a species, in our evolutionary development and consciousness, we are in a state of involution or stagnation. While conversely, if we truly do the shadow work to not even remove that fear, but transmute it and conquer it in the moment, it doesn't mean that you've buried it forever and you're never going to experience fear ever again. This is a lie. This is also a trap. There is no such thing as that perfect being that never experiences fear. The being that is working with their qualities and transmuting them to higher purpose is the one who has the fear, feels it, acknowledges that it is there, and moves forward in spite of it. See, this whole dynamic of spite even has a purpose, right? We say, oh, what's one of the lowest forms of consciousness you could have? Spite, just doing something for spite. I do most of my behaviors in the state of spite. It's in a state of in spite of fear, in spite of evil. It means those things are there, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do anyway. That's courage. That's what right action demands of us. It demands those sacrifices. We have to stop seeing this as one being. Everyone can be that higher level consciousness being. We are all the one. We are all the Christ in consciousness. If we accept to set aside those worldly attachments and do what we know to be right, which isn't even a true choice. It's the ultimate dialectical choice. We know what we have to do. At the level of true agape love and at the level of true consciousness, we know already what we need to do. We know the sacrifice that we have to make. We're not doing it because so much fear is present in our hearts. That's the problem. Shadow work helps us work through those fears to act in spite of them. It doesn't mean it's going to 100% erase them. Let's get that totally clear and understood. If you believe that, you've bought some bullshit, boys and girls. You've bought some bullshit that the New Age community wants to sell you, that you should never get angry, that you should never be fearful, that you should never have any anxiety over anything. Bullshit! Bullshit! And this is what they're telling you because they want you to think it's some unattainable fucking goal that can never be aspired to, that can never be reached. They're not giving you the real shit. They're not telling you the real things that are hard to hear. They want to tell you what you like to hear. Because then you'll go and fill up their pocketbooks. See, you'll fill their pockets. I'm not asking for your money. I want your understanding. The money to continue the worldly thing that I need to do with the equipment I need to do it with is one thing. Yeah, that is required. It's a requirement. But guess what? If it's not there, oh well. I'm not going to compromise my principles or the truth. I'm not here to be friends with people and or be successful or popular. I'm here to speak the hard truth that needs to be spoken. And the shit I'm going to tell you is going to make you want to punch me in the fucking mouth, turn the fucking show off, and never listen again. Because it's hard to hear. But it's true nonetheless. If we're going to really express true love in the world from a higher level of consciousness, which means we are going to work against the forces that shut consciousness down. We are going to work against the forces that shut down freedom in any aspect. It means we have to develop real courage. We have to stop being a fucking coward. We have to put skin in the game. We have to stop maintaining nothing but worldly attachments, which is what almost everybody does. That's all they give a fuck about is themselves and their own. And that's the problem. If I'm talking about you, take it to heart. It means you're the problem. If I'm not talking about you, continue to do what you're doing. You're not the problem. This is what people have to discern. What do you think I'm saying this? Just to say something? To be comfortable? Or to have something to do? I'm saying this to make people uncomfortable. People are too fucking damn comfortable in what they're already doing, even though they're doing fucking nothing. That's the problem. They're doing nothing and they're comfortable staying there. What do you think? You're growing and evolving? You're stagnating. Your involution has you. Fear has you. Cowardice has you. All the things that destroy consciousness, they got you. And you want to say you want freedom? You can fucking say that with your fucking tongue all day long, you little shit. Doesn't mean you want it. You're lying to yourself. Lying to yourself. I know most people won't even make it through this episode, and I don't give a fuck. Okay? I'm going to come out with a real hardcore shit about this. Because it's not understood. Hasn't been understood since day one when I explained it nice and baby spoon feeding it to you with a nice shit-eating grin on my face, wearing the fucking mask I was wearing. The masks are all off. Let's be fucking naked in front of the spirit of creation. And let's let everybody see who we are. And I may not be nice, but I'm good. I may not be nice, but what I'm saying is true. Being nice is my prerogative. That's my choice. I did it enough with zero result. As a matter of fact, moving backwards. No growth. Totally shutting down consciousness further since the day one that I've been doing this shit. I don't need to be nice about it. Don't fucking tell me what I need to do and don't need to do when you've done fucking balls. That's what you've done. True cosmic agape love is the absence of fear. It leads to, meaning that you work through your fear in spite of it. It leads to true courage, true right action, and in occult terms, it is the true force of evolution and growth in the universe. It is what moves us to higher levels of awareness and consciousness. If we don't get this basic and understand what force is the driving motivational force behind our behavior in the world, all part of shadow work, the first part of shadow work is asking this question. What has been your motivation in life? Have you really chosen what you've chosen out of love or out of fear? Are you really doing the will of creation, or is fear holding you back from doing the will of creation? This is all the New Testament figure of Jesus was asking everybody to consider when he was telling them, you have to act in love. Most people don't even know what it means, let alone are they acting in it. They're totally attached to the worldly and the physical. They're worried about what they have to lose. This is what the whole Matrix allegory was about. Desire of what you want, paired up in a dipole, right? In an electrical power pumping dipole with Neo and Trinity, fear of desire for what you want. You say you want real freedom, but fear of what you're going to have to lose. You might have to lose each other. You might have to lose your life. You might have to lose things that you're attached to in the physical, in the illusion, in the matrix, right? Which is really representative of the false reality we're all living in. This stuff doesn't really have any value. We just believe it does. Because there is no true value in a state of enslavement. It's what Niobe loses sight of. She's so proud of all the things that they've created in the physical world in Io, but she's lost sight that she's not even caring about freeing other human beings' minds and bodies from the matrix. She's letting them use them as a source of energy. This is what a lot of people who live out in remote areas. Oh, look at me. I'm so proud that I live out in a remote area and I grow all this food on my own and I don't have to be dependent on the state. I'm very fucking proud of you. But guess what? There are other people who that's not going to be their reality. Let's face it. The world's population is concentrated in cities and most people don't even have the resources to fucking move anywhere. Asshole! You don't want to consider that. Secondly, nor should they. Nobody should have their rights stripped from them just because they live in a fucking city. And this is what people who live in rural areas think. As if you're helping because you're out in the middle of fucking nowhere doing nothing. Get the fuck out of here. Go fuck yourself. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about and you think you're a spiritual being. Please. We're all in this together, truly, from a true sense, with the enemy being tyranny. And people who live out in the middle of nowhere want to say they don't give a fuck about city people. Get the fuck out of here. Fucking selfish assholes. It's what people are. They only give a fuck about themselves. They don't talk about anything from a wider perspective. Because they're in a trap up here in their fucking ego. And they can't get out of it. Then they even think they see it. And they think they see the way out, and it's another fucking trap. They can't truly get out of it. They're not really hearing what I've been telling them all these years. Fucking doing exactly what the fucking Satanist told me I'd be doing. Screaming into the fucking wind. Because they know this place is beyond fucking help. It's in such fucking thrall. It's in such a trance that nobody will ever take them out of it. And guess what? I'm not here to do that. I'm here as a testament to the truth. That's it. I'm just here to speak what is true so that people can just have the judgment that they want. That's it. You're going to have it. And anybody that says God doesn't judge, people don't judge, you're also full of shit. Creation judges. It's not a contest, but it is all about whether you've evolved or whether you've stayed stagnant. Has evolution progressed or has involution taken over? And then there's judgment. Yes, there is. That's how the universe works. You could look at it like games, a video game level. It's not a game either, but you could look at it like that. There are tests. You could call them tests of strength. You can call them tests of endurance. And there is reward and failure, because that's what moves people forward or shows them how they failed. There is reward and failure, reward and judgment. It is real. It operates in the world. It operates through the physical domain. And people don't want to understand that. They want it to work the way they want. Part of shadow work is you got to stop lying to yourself and stop dreaming. You got to stop telling yourself bullshit stories, and you got to stop believing little fairy tale nonsense about how you believe the world works, because somebody who doesn't really know how it works got you to believe their bullshit story. And you bought into it hook, line, and sinker, and you don't want to admit that you got fucking played like a little fucking kid. So the first thing is we need to review. Go back to episode 1. Review fear versus love consciousness. These are the only two forces you're ultimately creating with. These are the prima materia that we create everything out of. Everything else that we build in our reality is an expression of these forces. That's it. And this simple principle still to this day is not firmly understood by most people, because they don't really know what the terms mean, and they don't know the forms of them that are actually acting in the world. They think the family-based love, which isn't helping them to do the great work, is on the green side here under the love column, and it's not. It's one of the attachments that is leading to cowardice and inaction. Again, don't take my words out of context and say, oh, he's saying any family connections are bad. That's not what I said, asshole. This is what people do. They rush to put words in your fucking mouth that I didn't say. I'm saying maintaining a total attachment to that form of love, which is a lower form of love than agape love, that is philos, and then even lower than that is eros love, physical love, okay? Putting those before agape love is staying in a form of worldly attachment, preventing you from attaining cosmic love and doing the great work, which is why it's used so much as an excuse. We're going to look at the biggest excuses in shadow work. When you start making your lists of here's why I'm not doing the great work and here's why I should be doing it, we look at the 4. I've obtained data from a lot of people that I've spoken to over the years, and I've maintained a document where I have all their answers, right? And I'm not putting it out publicly with their names on it, right? I don't do things like that. I'm not going to dox anybody or tell other people's psychological profiles. But people who were kind enough to share personal information with me, right? I just make a document and put, here was their answer as why they're not starting. Here was some of their answers about why they think they should begin. And I just tallied them up over the years, probably doing this for about 10 years. And I just put together the 4 main answers of why people don't do it and why people do it. And you'll find that this will be representative of just about any answer you'll ever get. If you get any other answers, there'll be few. It will be few of these where a few people have these other fears. But the majority of people have these main 4 fears, and a majority of people also know the main 4 reasons they should really be doing the work. But the fear, unfortunately, has been a stronger force in this world. That's why I say, what is the stronger force in the world today? Is it love or fear? And if you do this type of shadow work and you tell yourself that right now, in this moment on earth, love is stronger than fear, you are an absolute fucking liar to yourself. Fear has this world. And that's the problem. That's what needs to be fixed. That's what needs to be conquered. That's what we need saving from. If the world needs salvation from anything, it needs salvation from fear. This is the force that is destroying the world. This is the force that is holding us back in our evolutionary progress. Fear over every little fucking thing the government tells us we should be afraid of. Fear of true freedom because we don't want the responsibility that must, as a requirement, go hand in hand with true freedom. You know, that's what people are afraid of the most. Responsibility, cosmic adulthood. So go back to the basic building blocks and really get them correct. Don't think you know them in and out. And most people still don't know them. They hear what they want to hear. Once again, a big part of shadow work is shutting the fuck up. Shut the fuck up and listen. That's a big part of shadow work. That's the number one part of shadow work. Shut this the fuck off. Use the wisdom that is way buried down in there in the subconscious. Shut the fucking conscious shit work that's going on and on and on and on and on and on and rambling about fucking nothing. Shut it the fuck off. Like you shut off a television or a radio. You need to shut the fuck up. Shut that voice the fuck up. Pound it into submission if you have to, but shut it the fuck up. Right? Let's not go, oh, just do this mantra and meditate. No, do whatever you have to shut that voice the fuck up. It doesn't know shit. It doesn't know how to listen to wisdom. It's too busy yapping. Shut it the fuck up. That's number one in shadow work. Learn to listen to the voice of wisdom. It's always talking, but it doesn't talk above a fucking whisper. I could scream it and it's still the same, but when I got it, it's just there talking straight as a steady fucking truth whisper that's never really going away. You just got to shut off the yap. I learned how to do that. That's a skill. You got to learn how to do that first and foremost. Get comfortable with silence. Get comfortable with sitting in a chair and looking at yourself in a mirror and just shut the fuck up and be silent. Don't say a word. Don't have any distractions. There's the first part of how you really understand what real love is versus what real fear is. You'll get that just by quieting the shit chatter of the mind. Most people, they'll never even do that. They're so afraid of being alone with themselves. Don't get me wrong, folks. Sometimes I get anxious over how bad the condition of the world is. You know, it isn't about me worrying about who I am deep inside and chatter going off and telling me lies about myself. I accepted the truth of who I am. And I'm doing pretty fucking damn well in the inner regard, in the spiritual and mental regard. Mentally and emotionally, it gets hard sometimes because of how fucked up everybody else is on this planet. How weak they are, how fearful they are. They're weak and fearful children, even if they think they're doing something that's good. And they don't want to tell themselves the truth. They want to tell themselves some bullshit story. And they're really good at telling bullshit stories to themselves. See, that's the thing. You say whatever the fuck you want about Mark Passio, but don't call me a bullshitter to myself. I'm honest with myself. I'll tell you right out in the fucking open my failings, my weaknesses, the things that I'm not proud of, the things that I know I haven't done well. And guess what? I don't need you to fucking tell me. I know what I'm doing well. I know what I have to work on. I make a point of learning those fucking things. I don't want anybody's suggestions about what I need to do here and what on earth is happening. Go do your own fucking shit. Don't worry about what I'm doing. I'll do what I want. It's my prerogative. It's my fucking show. Go get your own, loser. When I want your opinion, I'll fucking ask for it. I haven't asked for anybody's opinion. I'm not interested in what kind of a job you think I'm doing. I don't need your fucking opinion. I need your help in doing the great work. You're so worried about what I'm doing, you're not doing your own fucking work. Go do your own fucking work instead of criticizing others. I'm trying to tell people what's stopping you in your own fucking fucked up mind from starting doing it. That you think you're helping by criticizing somebody else instead of fucking doing the work. This is part of the fucking work. Explaining to people what's so fucked up inside of you. What are you such a fearful loser for? How much do you hate yourself that you're such a fucking fearful fucking loser that you won't even put your voice out there when tyranny and evil have conquered the fucking world? And you're a fucking slave and you think that criticizing other people who are doing the work is a way out of slavery. You're a fucking loser whose fucking parents fucked you up. And we're going to stay real fucking harsh on it, and it's going to get worse. So let's move on. Get this slide, understand it, sit and ask yourself, what is your motivation in your behavior, in your actions? And be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. The choice to begin this one great work and really do the shadow work is literally like the choice in the Matrix of taking the red pill or the blue pill. And I would say that, of course, in the Matrix allegory, the red pill represents the truth. It represents stop seeing the illusion that the blue pill is keeping you in, telling you everything is okay, telling you the government is just fine, telling you that you're not a slave. Take the red pill and understand what's really going on in the world. That's what the red pill represents. It represents truth and knowledge. But let me tell you something, folks. We have to take it a step beyond this. It's not just about the red pill versus the blue pill. There's another allegorical set of pills in our very real world that we have to make a dialectical choice between. And some people have put out these, concepts out into the world relating to the pills of the Matrix, the red pill and the blue pill, representing the choice between truth and illusion / falseness / fantasy, which the blue pill represents. But what shadow work? It goes beyond this, because shadow work isn't even just about the truth about the external world. It's not the truth about political, illusion. It's not the truth about the banking cartels and the truth about the pharmaceutical cartels, etc. All of those 3D institutions and complexes and, ways of deceiving people in the world and keeping us in the state of physical slavery that we're in. Yes, we need knowledge of those things. But shadow work, you could know all those things. You could have taken the red pill. And as I say, you're still really ultimately blue-pilled when it comes to the level of true spiritual awakening. Because you could be in a trap of just those 3D things. And you're not really working on yourself to say, I need to take this to a higher level in consciousness where I wake up to a point where I take action in the physical world. What are you creating? This is what you have to ask yourself when you do shadow work. Okay, I've taken the red pill. That leads to another fork. See, you go down that path of taking the red pill, right? You take it, you go all the way down that road and it goes for miles and miles and miles, but then you come up to another fork. And the other fork that you come up to is the choice between the gold pill and the black pill. That's the second fork in the road that you come up to on this journey. This is another dialectic that most people choose the black pill. And you know what that means? The black pill is fuck taking real world right action. I took the red pill. I went all the way down the path. I know what there is to know about the 3D aspects of the whole worldly system of control. And fuck it. I'm not doing anything to help. I'm not doing anything to transmute consciousness. We're doomed. There's nothing I can do. I'm powerless little me. I'm not going to take it a step beyond that in consciousness and say, I'm going to put my creativity to work in the world to create something that didn't exist before to try to inspire others to change. The black pill is, I don't give a fuck. I may know what's going on and it's all fucking hopeless and I'm doing nothing. And you know what that helps and you know what that changes? A big fucking goose egg is who that helps and what it changes. And everybody can say, I don't give a fuck, but then that's going to be your karma. And that's what you're going to be judged by creation according to whether you think so or not. The gold pill, on the other hand, is what shadow work will lead you to. Shadow work is what I had to sit down with myself and do because I was there. I was the one who had taken the red pill and was about to go down the black pill path. Of it's all doom and gloom. I'm just going to learn what I learn. I'm just going to, try to make my own situation as comfortable as possible and fuck everybody else until a woman in Virginia said to me, what makes you think you have the right to do that? You think that's spirituality? You think you're on the right path? When you're not speaking, when you're not speaking out, when you just know everything you know like a living library and you're doing nothing? She said, you're a living library of information and you're doing nothing with it. And you think you have the right to do that. And that's what started my real shadow work. Yeah, I may have been doing it on a low level, but I started doing it on a deeper level once that was said to me. And that's what I'm saying to people today. Don't think you're gold-pilled just because you're red-pilled, because you're not. Most of you went red pill to black pill. And you're doing absolutely squat zero. This episode of What on Earth is Happening is about shadow work and to get you to make the choice to take the gold pill and to abandon taking the black pill. The black pill doesn't lead anywhere except the abyss. It's bullshit. It's a trap. It's another dialectical illusion. The gold pill is activating and doing the great work in the real world. And again, we're going to be ultra harsh on people who say they want freedom and have not taken the gold pill and activated themselves in the realm of action to really influence other people and change the world. They haven't done it. That's what shadow work will help you to do. You got to get to the gold mind. Take the gold pill to open up the mind even further. You can know everything there is to know about the whole realm of conspiracy, about the whole realm of control, about everything that's going on in the physical domain. But how have you changed yourself spiritually? Are you involved in right action in the world to help influence others to change? If you could honestly look at your face in the mirror and said, I've done everything within my power and capability to do that, then fine. The harshness is not directed toward you. Then wonderful, you've done a good job. Continue to do the good job that you've been doing. And this isn't about you. But if you can look at yourself in the mirror and you can't say I've done everything that I can with my capabilities, with my willpower, with my knowledge. I've complained and I haven't really done anything. Once again, you want a real world gauge for this? Go on to any search engine and type your full name in double quotes into a search engine. And you'll see what you've done. It will be a mirror coming right back at you through those search results to tell you what you've done. How have you helped other people publicly in the world? How have you influenced other people to change positively? Have you? Or have you just fucking complained about loss of freedom? Yeah, you may know everything there is to know about it. But if all you're doing is complaining about it, don't tell me you've done anything about it. And taking the gold pill is being honest with yourself. Truly assessing what you've really done. No more excuses. No more lying to yourself. And most people, man, I'm telling you, they'll kick this fucking pill. They'll say, give me a baseball bat so I could hit this out of the fucking park. I want absolutely nothing to do with the gold pill because you know where that places the responsibility? Squarely on my own shoulders. You know, the gold pill makes you stop pointing the finger out. It makes you stop pointing the finger out. It makes you point the finger squarely at yourself and say, what the fuck have I done? What has this one done? See, when I do this and I sit and I answer that question, I say, I've done what has been required of me to do with total clarity, with total honesty to the self. No bullshitting myself. And not putting myself up on such an ultra pedestal that like I'm trying to make myself into something that I'm not. I give honest appraisals. I haven't taken the black pill. I'm not a total doomer. I'm not somebody that says there's absolutely no hope. It increasingly looks like there's less and less hope because people aren't getting the message. This message is not getting out, folks. People think that it's out there. It's really not. This is one of the only places you're going to hear it in depth. And if you really understand what I'm saying, it's one of the only places. Shadow work will get you to the place where you stop making excuses and you say, today is the day I start. Today is the day I improve my skill level. Today is the day I stop making excuses. Today is the day I start contributing, not just complaining. We don't need excuses. We need more effort. That's what's required. That's why it's called work. It isn't fun. It's hard fucking work. You got to show up every day. You got to give maximum effort. You got to work through difficulty. You got to power through, which is what most people don't want to do. They're weak people. They're weak, wishy-washy people. Do I complain? Yeah, I complain. but I still work and I still do something about it. And I still have something to show for my effort. The problem is most people want to complain and they want the result without putting in the work. Well, the universe doesn't fucking work like that. They want to complain. They want the change to manifest without putting in the required work. The universe doesn't work like that. I'm going to say it again. Most people want the change. They want the manifested result that they say they want. They don't want to put in the required work. There is a requirement for change to manifest. They don't want to do it. And they want the change to manifest anyway, magically. It doesn't work that way. So the first thing we have to understand when looking into shadow work is not only just the polarities, but we have to understand our programmability as a species. If we don't understand the quantum effects happening inside our quantum human spiritual computer, our whole being and physiology works like a computer. As a matter of fact, we even have a format. Like a computer disk drive that you put an operating system on has to be formatted for the operating system first, right? So if you're going to install the Linux operating system. So let's pick up where we left off. Again, folks, they don't want this information out there. Like when you really start hitting on deep occult truths that they don't want humanity to understand, that's where they're going to really start hitting people and censoring them and trying to knock their streams off the air. But it's not going to work because I'll do this 1,000 fucking times if I have to, and I'll re-record it on my own and put it out as a podcast if I have to. You're not going to fucking stop me. So whether it's a technical glitch, whether it's a deliberate thing that, somebody is doing from the outside to try to discourage this information from getting out, go fuck yourself. You're not going to stop me. You won't stop me putting a bullet in me. Good luck with that too. You think I'm afraid of that? You think probably I haven't died in a million horrific ways already? Putting out the truth all over this fucking universe? You ain't stopping me. Through physical death? You think I'm worried about physical death? Dude, been there, done that more times than you can fucking count. Not worried about it. All right? And play me. Try it. People think I'm joking about that. You don't understand how little attachment I have to this world. I'm not one of your fearful motherfuckers that is so worried about what you're going to do to me or anybody else. Like I've said before in the past on many shows, you could fucking torture everybody I fucking know. It's nothing to me. I'm not attached to this world or this life. That's not why I'm here. I abandoned those attachments a long fucking time ago and went through all of that. You could torture me. You could torture anybody I love. I'm not going to stop speaking the truth. The end. And I'm not going to tell people that they should just let you do it physically unharmed. We have a right to rebel physically against that form of tyranny. And that day's coming. That day is coming. It's not coming fast enough when people understand that right, But let me tell you something, folks. The people that allowed for the level of freedom that we have to even speak the truth of this reality wasn't any spiritual teachers in the world. It was the people who picked up weapons and shot the fucking British in their fucking skulls. That's who it was. That they allowed for the manifestation of freedom in a wider way than any other people who have ever lived and who have ever lived since. That's the reality of the matter. All right, so let's continue where we were with humanity as a programmable species. It's like early on in life, we go through these years called the formative years. That's the format of the computer drive. Like we have, you're going to format the Linux a drive for the Linux operating system, you got to put EXTFS on it. EXT file system. Okay? You're going to format a drive for Windows, you're going to put NTFS, Windows NT file system. You're going to format a drive for Mac OS, you're going to put APFS, Apple filing system, on it. Okay? That lays down the groundwork for the operating system, which is the information that's going to come in and inform what we believe, how we're going to think about things, and then ultimately what we're going to do. So it's just like in computing jargon. Garbage in, garbage out. Good programming in, good output comes out. So if good programming goes in through truth, leading to knowledge, leading to correct understanding of things, then there's going to be positive output. We put those good things into the brain, the human biological computer. What do you expect is going to come out on the other side? What's going to be the output in the form of behavior? It's going to be positive output through courage and moral action, right action in the world to improve the human condition. And then as that grows in the aggregate, you're going to get a betterment of the human condition on a large scale. Conversely, if we do the opposite, if we put garbage in, bad programming into the brain through lies, deceit, that leads to ignorance, that leads to cowardice, that leads to wrong action in the world. What's going to come out on the other end? We're going to have negative output through immoral action. Bad behavior is going to come out on the screen of life. And that's going to degrade the aggregate human condition. Well, where do you think we're at? Do you think we've collectively put good information into the human body computer? Do you really believe that's what we've done? Or have we collectively programmed the mind in a terrible way across the whole human species, leading to bad output, leading to negative manifestations in the collective arena that we call daily life on Earth? Once again, it's a no-brainer. All you got to do is open your eyes and pay attention to what's going on in the world, and you realize we've totally programmed people's minds with fucking trash and garbage. And if garbage goes in, garbage is what you need. You better expect on the other side of the output. There's no way you put garbage in and get good output. You have to put in good input to get good output. It's a simple computer equation. This is like a no-brainer. It barely requires logic. This is pure common fucking sense. And yet, people insist you can put in all this bad shit, never tell anybody that they're fucked up, never tell anybody that they've had viruses programmed into their mind, and somehow, without giving them that bad news, without telling them out in the open, you're really fucked up. You're totally fucked up and you don't know what the fuck's going on. And you don't know how you've been fucked up in the head. You don't want to have that uncomfortable scenario unfold in front of you. Just because you want to be comfortable, you're attached to life's comfort. You don't want to have that conversation with somebody else out in the fucking open. What do you expect? It magically to fucking change on its own? You're an asshole. You're a fucking stupid fucking person. You're just dumb, son. You're just dumb. If you think that's how it works, because that's not how it fucking works. I'm not an optimist or a pessimist. I'm not a glass half empty or a glass half full person. I'm a realist. If there's piss in the glass, I'm telling you there's piss in the glass. If there's a great vitamin drink in the glass, I'm saying that's a great vitamin drink in the glass, no matter how much is in it. I'm telling you the essence of what is and how it works. People don't want to hear that. They want to believe their own bullshit story about how they think it works. So what bad programming that we're putting into ourselves stops us before we even begin? What is telling us, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this? You got to worry about yourself. You got to worry about your job. You got to worry about this connection, that connection. You got to worry about this worldly attachment, that worldly attachment. What prevents us from truly beginning, from leaving the ranks of the unbegun and truly going down the path of truth, but then continuing past that red pill to the gold pill of right action? See, the red pill is knowing the truth, but that only gets you so far. Then you have to do what's required of you with the truth to obtain what you say you want. What do we say we want? We say we want a state of human freedom. How many people are meeting the requirements to actually do that is the question. Not that many. So before we even get to what is really preventing us from inaction, we have to understand the steps of beginning, the steps of initiation. True occult initiation has been described by many teachers as a 5-step process related to the 5 senses, related to the 5 points of the pentagram: earth, air, water, fire, spirit. Stop lying, stop dreaming, learn how to think, live in the present moment, and activate the physical body. And the first, before anything else is done, number one, there's a pecking order to this. It means don't take the steps out of order. Do them in order. Stop lying. Work on number one first. Stop lying. But this doesn't just mean stop lying to others. The first and most important person that you need to stop lying to is yourself. The context of number one, step number one in occult initiation of stop lying, above all else, is stop lying to yourself. That's the number one context. Okay? Stop lying to yourself. How do you do that? We're going to actually look at how you do this. Now, the other step, stop dreaming, we're going to talk about in this first part of shadow work a little bit today as well. It's going to largely focus on stop lying to yourself. Okay? We're going to mostly focus on that. We are going to look a little bit at stop dreaming as well. So let's move forward and take a look at the dynamic of stop lying to yourself. This means when we sit alone with ourselves and we tell ourselves the story that we want to tell ourselves about who we are, we're embellishing, we're lying, we're making up all kinds of bullshit stories. The playwright William Shakespeare in the play Hamlet said, "This above all else, this above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow." Now, most people never go forward with what's after that in this quote. "This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day, or as the night follows the day. Thou canst not then be false to any man." Now that puts it in context. You read it this way with the additional couple of sentences, and then you realize he's talking about being honest. It's not about sticking to your guns and remaining who you are in the moment. This is what people think being true to yourself means. They think it means doubling down even after you're proven to be wrong. This is not being true to yourself what it means. Or whether anybody else likes you or not, just continue to be who you are. That's not what Shakespeare, or as I feel he was, Sir Francis Bacon, head of the Rosicrucian order back in, I believe it was the 1500s or 1600s. It's not what he was saying. He was saying, above all else, be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Because if you don't lie to yourself, you can't lie to anybody else. If you stop lying to yourself, you won't lie to anybody else. That's what he's saying here. Now, if you do that, if you are true to yourself or honest with yourself, you can't then be false to anyone else. You can't lie to anyone else. But see, people are not hearing the term in context, and so they don't think it's about this first step of occult initiation, which is what Shakespeare was really telling people. The first step of occult initiation is stop lying to yourself. This above all, before anything else, stop lying to yourself. Be true to yourself. Be honest with yourself. So if he had written it like this, how much more blatant and apparent would it be? This above all, to thine own self be honest. Just in older English parlance, in the way of their everyday colloquial speaking, the phrase "to thine own self be true" actually meant to thine own self be honest. Don't lie to yourself. But the changing of that one word, instead of the word be true, be honest. See, we don't say be true anymore, right? You don't say to somebody else, just be true with me. No one says that. At least not anybody who speaks in normal colloquial English. You know? You don't say, do me a favor, whatever you do, just be true with me. You don't say that. You just say, just be honest with me. Right? That's how in the parlance of the day that Shakespeare was writing, it would have been said, just be honest with me, man. Just be true with me. Be true with me. Right? So to be true to thine own self meant, it didn't mean stick to your guns and just be who you are no matter who wants you to change. That's not what it meant. It meant above everything else, don't lie to yourself. Be honest with yourself. That is the first step of occult initiation, and that is the first step of true occult shadow work. We got to stop blowing smoke up our own ass, or then we will be prone to blowing smoke up other people's ass. And that's what the New Age movement has become. That's what false spiritual teachers have become. They're lying to themselves and others. And true shadow work makes you sit with yourself, look at yourself in the fucking mirror, and say to yourself the absolute truth, even if it says, there's something wrong with me. I'm fucked up. I'm not good enough. And be honest with yourself about it. See, there are true ways that we are deficient and inadequate. And we are lying to ourselves, and as a result of lying to ourselves, we are not doing what we are here to do. Then there are ways we make up excuses and things that are false about ourselves, just so we don't have to take the responsibility of moving forward in the great work. So you need to have the discernment in the shadow work. What do I truly need to improve about myself? What is fucked up that needs improvement? And what is a lie that I've told myself in a sense that I'm not good enough or smart enough or can't improve? Because I just want the abdication of responsibility to say, well, I'm just not good enough to do that. That'll never be me. How many people tell themselves this bullshit story every fucking day? Just because it's a fear holding them back from improvement. Because they know work's going to be involved to move themselves forward in a level of improvement and skill and in courage. And you know what they're telling themselves? I'm just not smart enough. Bullshit. Bullshit. Where's my bullshit buzzer? I don't have it with me right now. But guess what? You know what that is? Bullshit. No, you're just too lazy to do the fucking work to improve yourself. Be honest with yourself about it. You just don't want to put the work in. You want to be comfortable. You want to stay where you're at in your level of knowledge. But we're going to get to all of these excuses. Because that's what shadow work is doing. It's laying out all on the fucking table, all the excuses that you make for yourself about why you don't start, about why you're not putting more effort into the game, why you're not putting any fucking skin in the game. Why are you a coward? Why are you not taking action? Why are you remaining at a level of ignorance when you know you could improve past that level of ignorance and gain the knowledge that you need and the skill sets that you need? It's all a bullshit story. It's all a bullshit story that stems from breaking this first rule of initiation. It stems from breaking this first rule of initiation right here on the screen. Stop lying to yourself. How many people out there are continuously lying to themselves all day, every day? The bulk of people. Okay? The bulk of people. Dostoevsky said this, above all, do not lie to yourself. A man who lies to himself and listens to his own lie comes to a point where he does not discern any truth, either in himself or anywhere around him, and thus falls into disrespect toward himself and others. Not respecting anyone, he ceases to love. And he's talking about the agape form of love. Meaning loving truth, loving real freedom. In the wider sense of the term, the word love. Not familial love, not love of attachment to physical partner in the world or family member. It's talking about love of what is right, love of truth, love of goodness, love of freedom, love of right action. That's when you don't really have true internal self-respect, when you think you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not worthy, etc., so forth and so on. You'll make these bargains. You'll lie to yourself. You'll tell yourself, oh no, I'll never be that guy. I'll never be the one. I'll never do that work. I'm not smart enough for that. I'm not good enough for that. I don't have this skill set, that skill set. I don't understand this or that. But are you really making the fucking effort to understand? Are you really making the effort to put skin in the game? I'll bet my life's worth, most people are just saying those things as an excuse. But if they really self-examine All they're going to scratch the surface and find is fear. All that's inside, they pull the outside skin layer away, and it's just all fear. All fear, psychological fear factors inside. Because deep down inside, there's cowardice that they can't conquer. That's all it is. Let's just lay the naked truth on the table between human beings. It's just fucking cowardice inside. That's all it is. That 99.99999% of human beings won't look at your face and tell you. But Mark Passio will. Because I'm not operating at that familial level of care. I'm not operating at the Eros level of love. I'm operating on the cosmic level of love. The cosmic level of love doesn't look like a wishy-washy piece of fucking shit talking nonsense, new age bullshit. True cosmic love is tough and real and gets up in your fucking face and says what you're not doing and tells you could do better and tells you what the fuck are you doing? What did you come here to do versus what the fuck are you doing? Imagine we came here to bust this place loose and what the fuck are we doing? We're cowering in a fucking corner, not learning a fucking goddamn thing. And it's pathetic and it's not good enough. It's pathetic and it's not good enough because you don't understand these occult principles that are being talked about. You say that you do. You say that you want freedom and you're full of shit. You're full of fucking shit. To the whole freedom community, I say this. I don't give a fuck who likes me. I'm speaking the truth of the matter. The question you have to first ask yourself in shadow work, sit in front of a mirror, ask this question, sit with this question, be with the question in the room with no distractions, put a chair in front of a mirror, sit with yourself. Here's how it would look. I'm going to take my webcam and actually endeavor to show you this. I don't even care if it fucks it up. Here's a mirror. Here's what you do. You take your chair. You position it in front of a body length mirror like this. You sit there. You look at yourself and you ask yourself the question and you sit with it. You contemplate the question. You sit silently with the question and you just say to yourself in the mirror, do I really want the things that I am saying to myself that I want? That's what you do. That's shadow work, folks. Don't believe that it's some bullshit nonsense, that some bullshit nonsense new age teacher told you it was, because 9.99999 times out of 10, they're bullshitters who are lying to you to make money, to keep people comfortable, to make them say, oh, he told me such nice, pleasant things, and I felt so good afterward. It just made me feel so great, and I'm just going to repeat the bullshit and tell it to other people, and they're going to feel great. And you know what you're going to be doing spiritually in the world? You're going to be doing absolutely fucking nothing. It's spiritual fucking masturbation. You're lying to yourself and you're jerking yourself off. And that's what you're going to be doing to others when you propagate it. You're lying to them and you're jerking them off. And you know what that accomplishes in real world change? A big fucking goose egg. Nada, nothing, zero. Because then other people still believe they have the answer. They still believe they're contributing to the true great work. They still believe they're changing something for the positive, and they ain't doing any of those fucking things. They're sitting in their fucking house with their fucking thumb up their fucking ass, telling themselves they're a good person. Do you really want health when you're eating fucking garbage? Putting poison in your fucking body? Accepting poison for whatever fucking coercive reasons? People told you had to take it? Don't tell me anybody wants fucking health. You don't want health. You want sickness and death for yourself. My mother won't change her diet. She'll start listening to what I have been telling people is going on in the world, but old habits die hard. Still going to the same bullshit stores, buying the same products with garbage in them, artificial sweeteners, hydrogenated oils, you name it. Then it's complaining. Why am I sick? Why do I have to go to the hospital? Why do I have to go to doctors constantly? Why am I on so many medications to allegedly manage your health? Oh, they're managing it. You can't get through to hard-headed fucks like this. You can't get through to hard-headed fucks that are somehow attached to the pharmaceutical industry and want to tell you they're taking these fucking bullshit vaccines, which are nothing but fucking bioweapons, and creating this dependency reaction in the body that is actually bringing toxins and into cells and destroying the immune system. That's what we're going to be seeing is really going on. And I'm going to keep fucking saying it. You can ban me from everywhere the fuck you want. You ain't shut me the fuck up, motherfucker. You don't know the will that lives inside this one. Ban me from fucking everywhere. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to speak the fucking truth, motherfucker. Ban me. You wouldn't fucking look at me sideways if you were in front of me, motherfucker. Because you're a fucking coward. Sit with yourself in front of the mirror and look at the fucking low-life fucking coward that you are. Not only won't you speak the truth, you want to stop other motherfuckers from speaking it? Your parents fucked you up, son. Your parents fucked you up, girl. Ask this question. Do you really want what you say you want? When you say you want health, do you really want it? Do you want to actually put forward the requirements to obtain it? If not, then shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear it. You're not really doing it. You're just saying you want it, but you're not willing to do anything to make it happen. I'm tired of people bringing me fucking problems that they don't really want solved. You want to learn technology, but you want me to be your fucking tech guy. I'm not interested. Learn it your fucking self. That's how I had to fucking do it. Or take my course to contribute some value back to what I'm putting out into the fucking world. No, everybody wants everything for free and then expects it from somebody. People want my fucking time, want my expertise. Nobody earned it. Nobody's entitled to it. I'll give it where I feel it's appropriate when people are doing something that earn it. And then I volunteer it freely. Most people ain't doing shit. They think they're doing something. They ain't doing shit. Because when you look at what you say you want, there's requirements attached. And if you're really hardworking toward those requirements, I'm willing to lend a hand and help. I always am. I don't need to be asked when that is really going on. Most times I'll volunteer to help. And if somebody does ask me, I'll be glad to help. But when no effort's being made, and it's the same fucking, they're at the same level every day after every day, they're not moving forward, they're standing still, then you want me to fucking say, I'm going to be the guy that says, I'm going to take out hard time and value out of my day? My time is valuable to me. I'm doing work with my time. And then other people want to fucking say that they're somehow entitled to it when they ain't doing shit? I'll help who I want, who I feel deserves it. Who I feel has entitled themselves to some fucking help. And that's all anybody should else do for me. I'm not asking you to fucking give me something for nothing. If you feel you've arrived at some value by what I've put out into the world and how I'm trying to explain what's really going on to others and to get them up out of their childish bullshit in their head, then you can voluntarily contribute. If you don't feel I've accomplished value in that way, don't give me anything. I don't give a fuck. It's no skin off my back. I'm in this for real. Regardless of what value in worldly terms comes to me or doesn't come to me. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If I have to be poor, then that's what the universe has chosen for me, and that's how it'll be. If I maintain the resources to continue to do what I'm doing at this level or beyond, then so be it, then that's how it will be. Ask this question. Sit with it. Contemplate it deeply. Shut everything else off. Sit in front of a mirror and look at your goddamn self in front of a mirror and be honest with yourself as an adult. Do you really want what you say you want, and are you working toward the real world requirements for attaining what you say you want? Or are you lying to yourself? And be honest. And if you're lying with yourself, it's still okay. Start from there. Start with now telling the truth that you've been lying to yourself about it. That's all. I'm not asking for a miraculous overnight change and immediately becoming a perfect human being. No one is, and it doesn't work that way. It works through just be honest, stop contributing to the negative, and start turning it around and contributing to the positive. Don't create more hardship in your life or other people's fucking lives, and start being honest with yourself about who you are and what you've done. I did that, past tense, and continue to do it. And I'm honest with myself when I hit a limitation. But what I don't do is say that I want something, then do the opposite of what I say I want. If I do want something, I realize there are requirements for achieving that goal, and then I put effort into achieving that goal. Other people just say they want it. When they're hit with the requirements, there's a list of a laundry list often of requirements that need to be met to achieve that goal. They throw up their hands and they say, oh, fuck this. I thought that this was just going to be saying what I want. Well, that's not the real law of attraction. You're wrong if you think so. The real law of attraction is putting out your intention, having the care inside to use your abilities and your actions to manifest those intentions in the real world. This is what the dark occultists do every day. This is what people who claim to be good people don't want to run 1,000,000 miles an hour in the opposite direction from doing. Because when you explain to them, here's the real world requirement. It's attainable. This very real world goal is attainable, but here are all the real world requirements for attaining to that goal. And you need to do this and set this and this and this in motion, and then you'll get to that goal. They say, fuck that, that's too much effort, that's too much work. And those are the kind of people that want to go sit on a forum somewhere, sit on social media somewhere, and be the keyboard commandos and type all fucking day about what other people are fucking doing and think they're doing something. You're a pissant little fucking child who's doing nothing, who understands nothing about human psychology, and moreover, understands absolutely zero about what the requirements for creating manifested change in reality actually are. And this is what most of the human species is. They're fucking idiot, imbecile, low-live nothings. Low lives. Low lives. That's one of the worst terms you could call anybody. You're a fucking lowlife. You're a fucking lowlife. Hear the reality that I'm saying that to the people out there who need to hear it heart to heart. You're a fucking lowlife. The people who aren't lowlives need take no offense to that statement, because I'm not talking to you. A lot of people out there who have heard this show and done nothing, you're a fucking lowlife. You're a fucking lowlife. A lowlife. That's what a lowlife is. Somebody who gives a fuck about themselves, doesn't give a fuck about the bigger picture, doesn't give a fuck about anybody else, is only concerned about themselves, their own. When you say, what skin you got in this game? It's crickets back as a response. And you know what that is? That is giving your heart, your mind, and your soul over to Satanism. That's what Satanism is. That's why most people in the world are Satanists and have not come out of the satanic mindset, the satanic ideology, the satanic way of being in our world. They are still firmly anchored in Satanism every day, all day. Their thoughts are continually on what they want for themselves. See, when I'm talking about what do you really want, I'm not talking about selfish concerns. This isn't what new job do you want, what new car do you want, what new house do you want, how much do you want to make every year. Fuck all that shit. That's not what we're talking about on What on Earth is Happening. You want to go hear about that aspect of the law of attraction, go to some fucking false new age bullshit teacher that's going to blow smoke up your rear end, blow smoke up your ass and tell you what you want to hear and tell you a false variant of the law of attraction. That's not what we do here on What on Earth is Happening. This is the real law of attraction, and we're talking about what, when you say you want something, we're talking about, I want people to wake up. I want freedom in the world. I want tyranny to be conquered. Those are the things I'm saying the people in this community say that they want. We're not talking about the bullshit uses of this law of attraction, the so-called law of attraction. We're talking about the real one, the natural law-based law of attraction. What do you want in the wider sense of reality? You want your natural rights not to be usurped and taken away? You want real freedom to manifest? You want equality under natural law rights? Not equality in what we all can do, our capabilities and personality characteristics. That's sameness. That's not equality under natural law. Equality in our rights is something I want. What am I doing to make that manifest in the world? What on earth is happening is a testimony to me attempting to make that happen in the world through my efforts. You need only put my name in a search engine and you'll see my efforts. That's naked and bare to the world. And most people can't say the same thing. So when you sit with this question, do you really want what you say you want? What I'm asking you to do is consider the requirements for obtaining that goal. Have you put forward into the world real life effort to going up and attaining that goal through your actions, through your skills, through your effort? Have you done that work? I'd venture dollars to donuts you haven't even begun doing any part of that work. This isn't about listening to Mark Passio. This is about listening to the extent that you understand what the message has been since day fucking one and doing it. I've told people you don't need to listen to me anymore if you've already understood the point that you need to get out and do this work. So when you answer yourself in the mirror in any aspect of shadow work, especially this first part, stop lying to yourself. What have you done? What effort have you contributed? Have you even made an effort to begin contributing? You have to answer the question honestly once you contemplate it in silence. You have to be perfectly comfortable with being uncomfortable with the answer that comes back in honesty with self. See, if all you want is comfort, go to the New Age bullshit teacher. He'll make you, or she'll make you nice and comfortable in your answer to that question and say, there's no wrong answer. Oh, just say whatever comes to your heart and it should always just make you feel good. Follow your bliss. That's the nonsense they'll fucking give you. I'm telling you, for 99% of you, the answer when it comes back in full honesty should make you horrified with who you are and who you've been. You shouldn't be comfortable with it. You should be horrified and horribly uncomfortable with the honest answer. Hate to break the fucking news to you. That's the truth. Get as offended as you like. Again, I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear and be your friend and make you comfortable. I'm here to shake it up. I'm here to make you confront the truth within yourself. You don't really want what you say you want. Those are just words yapping. Yapping words like this. It's Charlie Brown mixed with fucking 1984 duck speak. Charlie Brown's teacher meets 1984 duck quack speak. That's what's quacking out your fucking head all day long about you wanting freedom. You couldn't fucking spell the fucking word, let alone understand what it means. You couldn't fucking spell the word, let alone understand what it really means. Deep down inside your heart and mind. Please. You're a bullshitter telling me a bullshit story, but even worse, you're telling your fucking self a bullshit story. Asshole. I'm not taking it anymore. I don't care if the world goes to total fucking hell. I'm telling the truth about what put it there. And I can at least die with the testimony. I put out the work that I needed to put out. I was totally fucking honest in what I said. And I did what I came here to fucking do. Not many people in the world can say that. Answer the question honestly and stop lying to yourself. First and foremost, be true to yourself. The second part of occult initiation is to stop dreaming. And that's to understand that there are requirements for accomplishing the things that we say we want. This is one of the first parts of the natural law seminar. Once again, go back to the building blocks of what on earth is happening. That's what we need to do. What we say we want doesn't just magically manifest on its own. It doesn't just pop into the world because we said we want it. That's not how manifestation in the real law of attraction operates. We have to make an effort, not excuses. You got to actually do real work in the world. What do you think? This show magically just happens every week? All the slides make themselves? It's hard fucking work every day. What do you think? I'm not doing anything else during all that time? I could 100% dedicate my effort only to this. I'm doing a million other things as well. Putting out technological fires when they happen, you know, because I'm the only tech guy that's capable of solving them around here. You know, had a little bit of help. I've been asking for really good help with it for a long time and never manifests because there's nobody here in this shit, garbage, communist, rat, trash town that has the skills that wants to help. Nobody. Zero people. Yeah, and it's another reason I'm going to scale it back to the point where I'm comfortable, where it's not going to damage my health. You know, and I'll do it to the extent that I'm able to do it. But I'm not going to totally destroy myself just because I can't get the help that I need. The effort will have to stay at a scaled back level that's okay for me to do without getting sick. And then if I get the help I need, then more effort can be made and the operation can grow. But this operation, far from even growing, is actually being scaled back a bit. It has to be. I need to do that for my own health. Because I'm the kind of person that'll generally just work myself to death and not even take a break to eat or go to the bathroom. That's what I get like. That's the mindset I start to get in. And that won't end up well for my health. And I know this, you know? So, but the answer is, I make real world goals. Goals that are attainable. Real world attainable goals should be set. This is another part of shadow work. I want to be at this level of awareness, of understanding, of working out problems in my own psychology and of attaining goals in the real physical world by this date. And set the date honestly. You know, they'll say in shadow work and self-improvement, etc., most people make way too optimistic, you know, monthly goals, way too optimistic yearly goals, but their goals for like 5 years, a 5-year plan or a decade plan are not nearly optimistic enough. And I find that to be very true. If you would have told me what I would have accomplished with What on Earth is Happening only 10 years ago, I would have said no way. You know? And most people try to do too much too fast. This is not about a total rush. Yes, we are out of time where people have to begin something. But it's not like saying, I need to be at the level Mark Passio is at by next month. It's probably not going to happen unless you're already a computer expert. Unless you have a high level of technological skills, you probably will not be doing what I'm doing. Unless you already have a high level of resources, you're probably not going to be doing operations like what Alex Jones does, or somebody, you know, at that level, or Joe Rogan, or even David Icke. They've built up resources through their work over the years where they're able to do larger scale operations, and that's great, and that's what it's for. That's what those funds are for. Talk about people saying, oh, people have a store and sell things and sell products and, nutrients or, supplements. How do you think the operation of that level is going to be funded? People like that are, you know what they are? I've said it before and I'll say it again. You're a fucking complete moron when it comes to technology because you don't even understand bandwidth. You don't even know what the word bandwidth means, let alone how it operates in the real world and what you have to pay to bandwidth providers to push content out when you have that much viewership. You don't even understand how that scales and how expensive it gets. You're a total fucking low-life moron that doesn't make an effort to understand how things work in the world. This is why when people say, why don't you do this, or this? And you sound like I said, you've been beating on your fucking head with a ball-peen hammer half your fucking life. That's how fucking retarded you sound. You don't even understand the amount of money that it costs. People go, put the ARC on a torrent, Mark. Have you ever tried to host 2 terabytes of information via a torrent file out of your home? Try it. Do it. Do it, then talk. See if it can technologically really be done and not cripple your network the way you think you're going to do it and you're going to get the word out like that. You're Ralph Wiggum and you're in up to your elbow. That's what you are. You're Ralph Wiggum from The Symptoms, the son of the fucking imbecile cop. And you're picking your nose and you're in up to your fucking elbow. That's how fucking retarded you are. You're just dumb, son. You're just dumb. Everybody who continues to ask me this, even though I've explained on the ARC page, it's never going to be a torrent. Have you ever hosted a 2 terabyte fucking torrent successfully, repeatedly, over and over and over again? Out of your house with your fucking bandwidth. Lowlife. I'm sorry, I don't have the patience for the ignorance anymore. Learn about how the fucking internet works. Learn about how technology works. You're not a fucking imbecile. You're not that much of an idiot that you can't learn it. You're an idiot and an imbecile because you won't learn it. Because you're still asking these dumb fucking questions in the year 2022. And then you're still not understanding how resources are required to fund fucking big operations. Because you're not doing anything. Because you're sitting in your house with your thumb up your fucking ass. That's what you're doing. Nothing. Then you're complaining about how other people do and fund their operations. And you have no right. Somebody who has done a lot can have the right to make a constructive criticism. I don't want to hear constructive criticisms from people who have done fucking nothing. You're a lowlife, do nothing loser. And I'm not going to give you my time. You're going to get fucking banned in the fucking ban list at the server end, and your emails just bounce that you write them, you waste your fucking imbecile, more of your loser fucking time writing out a long fucking angry email. It never ever reaches my inbox. My spam filter filters that the fuck out. I never see them. I never see this. I see maybe the first thing that ever gets sent to me by an idiot. I hit one button, spam filter, that's the end of you. You graduate from Hacienda University. Hacienda U. Okay? You're gone forever. Then I'll ban you at the IP level if I have to. And then you'll really never get anything through to me unless you literally go on a different internet connection. The point is, you're wasting your fucking time sending anything to any other content creator instead of you doing the work yourself. If you want to be the ultimate torrent hoster of Mark Passio's ARC, go fucking do it, loser. Go fucking knock yourself the fuck out, loser. This is the kind of people who have done no shadow work, but moreover, they've done no real practical work in the world and don't even understand how things work in the physical domain because they haven't done anything. People who say shit like this prove instantaneously, in a snap of a finger, they prove that they're a fucking know-nothing. Because they're talking to a tech expert and they're going, have you considered doing it like this? And I'm like, I'm a tech expert. I worked in scientific laboratories at research institutions as a tech expert. I worked in one of the biggest business internet providers that provided business class internet services to businesses throughout the Princeton University area for years as one of their leading technical specialists. Do you think I don't know what the fuck I'm doing? We have technical problems here because it's a very small operation. I fixed them. I keep powering through them. And who knows how much of it is sabotage? I've considered that over and over throughout the years. When you start to talk about stuff like this in a deep way, they don't want it out there. They want people in their same bullshit satanic mentality where they're spouting verbal diarrhea and they're not really learning the shadow work that they need to learn to become a truly fucking strong, intelligent human being. When you start really teaching the real laws of attraction and how real occult spiritual shadow work is done, they want that shut down. You know, I've watched Reset Wars by InfoWars that Alex Jones put out with a partner, and it's very well done, I have to say. There's a lot of occult material in there about how the real laws of attraction work. There's a little bit of New Age, borderline New Ageism there, but for the most part, it's well done. And, you know, I'm not telling anybody to go and subscribe and buy it. I'm just saying I felt like it was good material, personally, after having gone through it. Because it explains you have to put skin in the game. You have to develop your skill sets. You have to create. We're here to be creators, small c, to contribute to the will of creation, capital C. You know, if we're not doing that, we're wasting our purpose for why we are here. And I found in that whole seminar good information about purpose. What we're here to do, what we're here to accomplish. We're not here to fucking just complain. We're here to create and accomplish. And most people want to complain about how other people are doing it because they know they've just been lowlives who haven't put any skin in the game and who aren't doing it themselves. They just want to yap their fucking gums, flap their gums and yap their mouth about how other people should do it. No, don't worry about what other people are doing. Worry about what you're doing. What's your contribution to the work? Worry about that before you open your mouth about anybody else. So, when we look at the dynamic of stop believing how you want it to work, this is dreaming. And this is the false aspect of dreaming. It doesn't mean don't have dreams about how you want to change things. It means there are false aspects to the imagination that make you imagine things that aren't real and how things work, that they don't work like that. You don't just say you want something and then have a good positive feeling about it and then it manifests. That's bullshit. You have to make it happen through real world right action, through creation, creativity, through fulfillment of your purpose, putting information out into the world. Become a small c creator. Set goals. Part of shadow work is setting real world goals. Don't set your goals too lofty. Don't set them too low. You need to find a midpoint. Make a real world practical goal in a practical amount of time. And then understand the requirements for making that happen in the real world. It doesn't just magically manifest on its own. Anybody that tells you that is lying to you and not telling you there's hard work and effort involved. And we need more people making that effort instead of making excuses why they can't make that effort. That's the only thing that's going to change this world for the better and get us out of tyranny. Real world goals have real world requirements. So let's look at this dynamic more in depth. And you know, folks, this is what I mean is I don't just talk this talk, I walk this walk, and I try to make practical, real world, visual explanations of these conceptual ideas so that you could really understand how they work. Then start putting them into practice in your life. This is the problem, is that people they'll pay lip service to all of this. They'll say, yeah, I get it. And when I ask them just a little bit, just have a conversation with me and give me some feedback. Let me see if you really understand it. Explain this dynamic back to me a little bit. Let me hear how you would explain it to others. It's garbage. They don't understand it at all. Not even a tiny little bit. When they try to explain it back to me, what comes out of their mouth, I'm so horrified that you translated what I said so badly when it reached your internal mental dictionary that you can't even begin to understand what it was I was saying. People want to twist things into believing that I'm saying something that they want to hear. They're not really hearing what I'm saying. Excuse me one moment. Sorry. So let's start building out a visual representation of what I'm talking about here, not only with shadow work, but with practical work and organizational efforts that have to be made when you begin to really put your own creative effort out into the world. You have to have this understanding present in your mind. Set your goals attainably. This is part of shadow work, but it's very practical shadow work. You have to say, where do I want to be by this point in the future? Whether it's 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, or longer into the future. And then you have to look at the requirements that are obtainable, right? You don't want to set such lofty goals that the requirements are inobtainable in that time frame. You set them so that the requirements are attainable within a practicable time frame. Thank you. So let's build out a visual representation in the form of a very simple graph. And I'll set the axes of the graph like this. And the vertical axis on the left is going to represent skills that we have to build up over time to obtain goals. Because perhaps without these skill sets, you'll never hit the goal. You won't have the practicable understanding of how to fulfill the goal because you're still ignorant about how to do it, right? So shadow work is not only about looking at your own inward qualities, about what you have to develop within yourself, but it's also about understanding what skills do you have to develop to do this work in the very real, practicable world, okay? Practical world. And then we're going to set the horizontal axis as time. And the left-hand part of the chart is going to represent the past, okay? So all the way back as far left as you can go on the chart is past in time. And then right about in the middle of the horizontal axis, that's now. That's the present moment. And then on the right-hand side, that's going to represent either the near future or all the way into the distant future, okay, as we move to the right on that chart. So we're going to chart skills versus time, all right? And what we're going to do is we're going to look at that in relation to goals that we set. And this is part of understanding what's required, but it's also part of understanding how excuses hold us back. When we say, oh, I can't do that, or I don't have the skills, or I don't have the knowledge, this or that, right? We'll look at all those excuses in a little bit. But when we look at these factors and we say, well, I don't have this skill set, and we're sitting in the present, still without that skill set, and then 5 years roll by, and it's the new present moment 5 years from now, and our skill set hasn't moved. Do you think we're any closer to hitting our goal? So let's look at how this works. So let's start building out our skills. Let's say we want to get to this green line, right? And that green line represents a goal. It may be, I'm going to get an audio podcast on the air, right? On the internet airwaves. I'm going to have an audio podcast that I have done. Let's say I want 10 episodes complete by this point in time. And let's say the goal is a year from now, and it's going to be hosted on my own website. So I'll have a website, and I will be able to archive on the website audio podcasts that I have put together. And from one year from this current time, I want to have 10 episodes up on my own website. That's a very reasonable, obtainable goal for just about anybody in the modern world, believe it or not, even if you have very little to no skills right now. However, it's almost never that no one has any skills right now. You can look at your skills and say, I have some skills right now. So we'll look at that in a moment. But for now, this green line here represents the level of skills that we need to get to achieve whatever this goal number one we've set for ourselves. And again, as I was saying, there's almost no person who's completely illiterate in anything. You're going to find that you have some skills even now in the present moment, even if they're not enough to reach your goal. So our skill level doesn't really look like a dot sitting at 0 in the present moment. It looks something like this. Before I even build that out, I'm sorry, this is goal number 2. Let's say we want to reach goal number 2 at a future time. It requires a lot more skills, maybe more resources that we bring in through the real world application of our skills, right? But this is a loftier goal. It's set far higher than goal number 1. So we have goal number 1 and goal number 2. And as I said, nobody in the present time is going to have 0 skills. There's going to be a small level of skills, but certainly not what we need to hit our first goal. So it looks like this. You've acquired some skills, but you're not where you need to be to hit your first goal. You're still going to need to learn more. You're going to need to progress, and you need to go further in your skill sets. But they're not at 0. They may be halfway to where you got to go. I set it at halfway approximately to be optimistic, right? They may be, honestly, let's be honest, they may be at 20%. They may be at 10% or 5%. It's okay wherever there are. As long as tomorrow they're not at 5. Even if tomorrow they're at 5.05%, you've moved a little bit. You've made a little bit of progress. Don't stay stagnant or go backwards. That's it. That means allow evolution, even if it's slow, to progress. Don't stay stagnant in the state of involution. Involution is fear over why you can't accomplish something. Evolution or progress in any skill set is love. That's higher consciousness. You knew more tomorrow than you did today. You knew more today than you did yesterday. Keep making that progress. Compete with yourself from yesterday. How many people I have conversations with, and I say, how much closer to knowing how to do skill A are you this year than you were last year? I'm no closer. I'm right at the same fucking level of ignorance I was last year regarding that skill set. Are you making an effort? Be honest with yourself. Are you taking some of your time to make an improved effort to improve your skill set, to get to any goal that requires more skills? Most people look at themselves in the mirror and blow smoke up their ass and say, well, there's this reason, there's that reason. The excuse doesn't change the skill level, right? You still got to push that blue line up from here to there. You still got to move it forward. If you're not making a real world effort to move that skill level forward, what the fuck are you doing? You're staying stagnant. You're not improving. Not knowing how to do something and acknowledging you don't know how to do it is the first step. And that's where ignorance starts to be transformed into knowledge and wisdom. Saying, I don't know how to do it. I don't have that skill set and I don't know how to do it right now. But if you say, I'm not going to make an effort to improve that skill set and build it up and learn how to do it to meet the requirements for the goal, then you know what you are? You're a person sitting in your fucking home with your thumb up your ass, wishing for things to change and not making them change. And in so doing, don't tell me you understand the work of what on earth is happening. You don't fucking understand it. You're saying to yourself that you understand it, but you have no fucking understanding. Don't lie to me. I don't want to be fucking lied to more than I already am, but most of all, stop fucking lying to yourself. So let's move this blue line forward a little bit, where time moves forward into the future. And here's where you are at the present moment. You're at that level of your skill set. Start from there and improve. Tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next week and the next month and the next year, you shouldn't be at that level of your skills. If you are, you're not fucking trying. You're not putting enough effort in. This is what a mentor isn't telling you, because you probably don't have a fucking mentor. Nor do I want to be your real life mentor. You could call this virtual mentoring, because I'm giving you real world, practical, occulted skill sets that they don't want you understanding the principles of this. They don't want you understanding the very foundational principles in the mind. You have to understand this and apply it in the psychology. So you're at this level of skill set in the present moment. in the future, you should be building your skills toward obtaining goal number 1. So as we move forward in time, you shouldn't be staying stagnant or leveling off. You should still be going up progressively. If it's linear, it's linear. If it's even just a small linear incline, that's fine. It shouldn't be across. It shouldn't be straight across. That's not making progress, and it certainly shouldn't be downhill. It's got to be pointing off of the horizontal axis, up, even if it's a little bit up. You know, I'd like to see it like this at least, right? Like it is in this graph here. As long as it's not a steady plateau that levels off or a downward decline, we're in semi-good shape. So now you can see here's where the skill set level is at. We've reached the skill sets required. We've met the requirements to obtain the first goal. Now the person in the first year knows how to put a website online. They know how to get a domain. They know how to get hosting space. They know how to connect the DNS of the domain to the hosting provider. Okay? Or if the hosting provider does that on its own, fine. Right? But they know how to get that done. They know how to put their web pages online with some type of a decent interface that makes the web page easy to navigate. And now they're starting to archive their podcasts. They've made their podcast, they've invited their guests on, or they've put out the information themselves that they want to put out, and they put that information out in a creative capacity and archived it in some public space of their own on the internet for other people to go to it, download it, and have that material and mirror that material elsewhere. That's doing the great work. That's hitting a goal. And then you want to set another goal beyond that. So when I made my goal, I'm just putting What on Earth is Happening online, starting an audio podcast, doing public speaking. Then I'm going to do a video podcast. Then I'm going to do the One Great Work Network. Then I'm going to teach how to become the True Media Seminar. They're progressive goals that have higher and higher requirements, perhaps. Not every goal you're going to have you're going to have to learn just as many skill sets. You got to realize most of your higher goals are going to be built on skill sets from your earlier goals. You don't need to build a new staircase every time. You need to build a higher level of the staircase. Understand that. So sometime in the more distant future, you're going to hit goal number 2 and your skill set's going to be built up to that level. And if you're not, just wasting your time or not taking it seriously, you won't lose any of those skill levels. You'll use them for other projects in the future. They won't decline over time. Some people think, I learned everything I have to learn, and then they just stay stagnant. I'm always learning new things. Do you think I knew as much as I know today, even 2 years ago, 3 years ago, about what I'm doing with video? The video show taught me a lot. I learned a lot by just doing it. I learned a lot by doing the One Great Work Network. I didn't understand the technology NDI 3 years ago. Now, it is probably my absolutely most required technological skill set is understanding an NDI-based workflow. For people who aren't computer people, you don't know what that means. NDI is a video technology that sends full-frame video over network, over your LAN, your local area network, so that you could send and receive video signals on any computer without additional hardware. That would have required whole computer, encoding hardware only years ago. Now it could be done in software using software like a hardware node. Powerful as hell, works great. You're viewing the show through it right now, more likely than not. And, I didn't know a thing about it a few years ago. And it's a 7-year-old or 8-year-old now technology that most people still never heard about. Now it's the basis of almost everything I do here at What on Earth is Happening in One Great Work Network. It's the underlying technology that drives what I do in my platforms. 3 years ago, I knew zero about it. 3 years ago, I heard about it. 2 years ago, I started understanding what it can really do. This year, it's absolutely indispensable to my entire workflow. Do you think I magically just knew that, how to do it. I stayed up. You could ask people who were watching me start the process of understanding all of this years ago, where I became obsessive about it and stayed up day after day, night after night, till 7 a.m. in the morning. I'm going to bed, just staying up, powering through learning it. I'm not going to stop until I understand it fully. I'm going to get it. I'm going to understand everything that I can do with it, everything about it that I can possibly learn. And then I'm going to put it to work. I'm going to make it work for me and what I do. That's the attitude you have to have. That's part of shadow work. It's a never say die attitude. It's relentlessness. It's persistence. It's never giving up. Most people weren't raised with that. Let me tell you what I see and how it's with almost everybody. It's a rare exception to the rule when anybody comes out of this mindset because they haven't done enough shadow work. Somewhere in life, someone taught them, when you fail at doing something, stop trying. I don't care who it was. I don't care when it was. It was some person in the past that they bought the bullshit story. And they don't even need to know. You don't need to know who taught you the bullshit. You don't need to know when you bought it. All you need to know is that virus is planted. It got planted. It got inserted. Somebody went by saying some bullshit to you, and you said, oh, yeah, that's true. And it was absolutely fucking false. What they did, boom, 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 quick, attack, plant the virus in the fucking computer system of the mind. That's what they did. And then they got out. They scooted on and got out and to go plant another virus in somebody's fucking mind. That's what happened. And then the person who this virus got just inserted into said, wow, yeah, that's true. That's me. That's who I am. I can't do that. And they bought it every fucking subsequent day of their life. They bought the lie. There was a bullshit virus tapped into their brain, and then the person jetted out of there, leaving the virus to grow and replicate in the mind. Instead of saying to yourself, I don't know this now. Right now, see in that present moment over there, right? Look on the chart over here, right? And go to present moment where your skill set is. You didn't know how to achieve goal 2 at that moment. You were at this level of knowledge, less than a third to go up to goal 2. Did that mean that it was unattainable? No. It's still an attainable goal with more knowledge, with more skills, with more effort. However, if you're the kind of person that bought into the virus mindset, you say to yourself, I can never improve my skill, my knowledge, my effort to get to level 2, to goal 2. You bought into the bullshit that I am staying right here at this level of skills and knowledge and not moving on because that's who I am. You bought, that's all you're capable of. See, maybe I am very fortunate that people did not try to plant these ideas that I could not do anything. I think because they listened to so-called experts who tested me, they gave me these approved, state-approved testing, and this is your actual level of intelligence, Mark. You know, we're going to take you to community college and throw you in that office room, in that big office building. We're going to give you the test, and that's going to put a number on your IQ. Who knows what the fuck my real intelligence is? It is 147 some number that defines who I am or what I'm capable of? No, it isn't. It's a number on some bullshit standardized test that isn't about holistic intelligence. It's about intellect, which is saying, oh, your left brain is very advanced. You can solve puzzles. You know, you're good verbal and math. Who gives a shit? That's not what I look at as total intelligence. But guess what? It does tell you how much you're able to see patterns in the world and make sense of them. It can help with that if you integrate your holistic intelligence through care, through heart-based intelligence, through true developed intuition. Not false, fake, bullshit, thin slicing of things that is based on nonsense perceptions, but real, genuine intuitive qualities that have to be honed and developed. The ability to see real-world, big, heuristic picture patterns of how whole systems work and how whole dynamics work over time in the world. That's what you have to develop intuitively. So, it was never really said to me, you can't accomplish goals. It was said to me, you're smart enough that if you put your mind to it, you'll be able to accomplish it. And I'm telling people, it doesn't even matter how smart you were told you were by the system. All that matters is, do you have the willpower and the drive and the courage, most of all, to press forward and improve upon who you were yesterday and compete with yourself from yesterday and force it to happen. See, that's the dynamic that has to occur. You don't wish for it to happen. You don't say, well, I tried and I didn't get it right the first time, so fuck this. This isn't worth my time or energy or effort. Now, you got to pick your battles with that, right? If it really isn't, you got to be true with yourself. But if it totally converges with what you say you want, with that goal that you say you want, I want freedom. I want to put this podcast out. I want to speak to people in the world. I want to contribute to the effort. And here's my goal. And your practical real world skills have to improve to meet the goal, and you're not doing it. And you're just saying, that's too hard, I give up. You'll never reach your goal. You will just sit there with your thumb up your ass, wishing for it to happen and not making any real world progress. And guess what? It's a bullshit story that you tell yourself that you're not able to. It's an excuse and a bullshit story. So understand this chart. It means set practical goals over time and then look at the real world requirements, because there are real world requirements and you have to be honest with yourself about them. What are the skill sets involved? What are the resources that are going to be involved? That's going to be important too. Is this practicable in the amount of time I'm setting? Don't set goals too lofty, but don't set them too low. You got to set the bar at a median level that's obtainable in a practical way. This is part of understanding your capabilities. This is part of learning what your skill sets are. It's part of internal shadow work that then you put into practice in the external world. Most people won't tell you this stuff. They'll just talk in vague terms, not setting any goals, not saying, I'm going to write this down and here's my list of things I want to accomplish and do. It all starts on paper, digitally or with a pen and paper. You make an agenda. You make a syllabus of what you want to do, what you want to accomplish. And then you set out to accomplish those goals through real world skills and effort. It's not magic, folks. So entering into psychological shadow work is asking these all important questions. What stories are you telling yourself about yourself? You got to sit in that mirror and say, am I telling myself a bullshit story about who I am, what my capabilities are, what I want, what I say I want? Are these stories true? That's the first thing that has to be asked. Ascertain truth about the stories you're telling yourself. In every occultic school of thought, I don't care where you go to obtain this information, it's going to be the very first thing that they're going to tell you. This is how the law of attraction unfolds immediately. In the first stages, you have to say, am what I am telling myself about what I want true? Is that true? Do I really want what I say I want? And then you have to say, what stories am I telling myself about why I'm accomplishing this or why I'm not accomplishing this? And is the story true? Or is it a bullshit story? Is it an excuse? Is it a fear-based psychological factor that's preventing me from actually beginning in earnest? Beginning in earnest, meaning really doing the learning the skills and doing the real world actions that are going to accomplish the goal that you say you want to accomplish. Not just saying it, not just paying lip service to it, but really doing it in the real world in a practical way. So when we sit in front of the mirror is the best place to do the work. You got plenty of them. Shut your phone off. It's a mirror. Shut your computer screen off. It's a mirror. Shut your laptop screen off. It's a mirror. Shut your television off. It's a mirror. Or go to an actual mirror. If you're a woman, open up your pocketbook. Take out your powder purse mirror. You all carry them around. Plenty of surfaces you could look at your reflection in. And I think it's important to actually confront yourself. Look at your own visage. It's not just about doing internal dialogue work. It's connecting it with the I. So when I say look in the mirror, I mean physically in the mirror. The mirror is a part of the work. Okay? And you have to ask this question. While looking at yourself in silence, what bullshit stories am I telling myself? Then the all-important question, is that story true? Is it true or is it nonsense? We'll tell stories of ourselves that are true. But then a lot of them are bullshit. They're bullshit stories. That's why I didn't write what bullshit stories. What stories am I telling myself? You could tell yourself stories about yourself that are true. Descriptive about your qualities, about who you are, about how you got that way, how you became who you are. There's true stories we tell ourselves. Don't think all the stories we tell ourselves are fake and false and are bullshit. They're not. Some of the stories we tell ourselves are true and are there to help ourselves in the journey. But a lot of them are viruses. A lot of them are bullshit stories. A lot of them are baggage. A lot of them are fear-based psychological factors that are just holding us back from progressing. And they're not who we are and they're not helping us progress. So the question becomes, in doing this shadow work, what is the way that we expose the bullshit stories? How do we tell ourselves, how do we discern between the true stories we tell ourselves about who we are and the bullshit stories? How do we expose the false stories that we have believed up to this point, to the present moment, because we've been lying to ourselves in the past so much? So that's what this whole episode is called. Exposing the psychological fear factors that hold us back from beginning. They're the bullshit stories that we've told us about ourselves that we've come to believe that aren't true, that all they're serving to do is hold us back from our goals and from who we say we are and from what we say we want. There are viruses embedded in the mind. Here's the solution. And that is the most horrifying frame ever put up in what on earth is happening to most human beings. That's the most horrifying image that they could ever imagine. Sit quietly in a room on a chair in front of a mirror, look at yourself and be honest with yourself about who you are, what you've done, what your attachments are, what you've said you want to do versus if that's really what you want. And exposing your own bullshit stories that are implanted right here. That's deep occult psychology that most people would look into approach the door, pull the curtain aside. Oh my God, a chair and a mirror, and run 1,000 miles back in that direction. 99% of people, even the people who say that they've done this work, have done it in a soft way. They're not doing it in the deep occult psychological way that I'm explaining it needs to be done. And if you think I haven't done this work and I haven't done the healing and I haven't put in that homework and I haven't done that work upon myself, you don't know what I've done. You're speaking out your ass. I'm not claiming to know every individual out there personally, but I am claiming to know if the world dynamic is the way that it is, over 99% of people haven't done that fucking work. Don't lie to me and give bullshit stories to me to try to embed up here that hard work has been done by most people because you're full of fucking shit. I know it hasn't. You want to know why? Because I know I've done it and I know who is a peer in that work and who isn't. Just like I could speak to someone for about 30 seconds and know if you're on my level when it comes to technology and you know what the fuck you're talking about in that regard, or whether you don't and you're a bullshitter. It's the same thing when it comes to shadow work. You can tell who's done it almost immediately, and you can tell who's telling themselves bullshit stories still to this day. So, let's start, and I'm only going to have about 6 minutes to unpack this before I have to end the show if it's still going to remain a 3-hour show. We'll continue this next week. What is the actual process? And then maybe we can ask people to come on if they're willing to share their shadow work on the air. We'll take them through the process next week on the air. Or if people aren't comfortable with that, they don't have to. But what is the actual process of beginning this shadow work? The first part of the process is either do it digitally in a presentation document or a word processing document, or take a piece of paper, fold it in half, or draw a line down the middle. And I call this the cons and pros of starting the one great work. And you'll notice I don't call it pros and cons. It's cons and pros. Start with the negative. Most people will be like, oh, whoa, never thought of doing that. Why? Start with the cons. Okay? Make a column and call this the cons or the negatives, or why I haven't started. Write down on that column or that side of the screen, why haven't I started? What am I telling myself in my psychology that is the story of I can't start this because ... The cons should be first. The negatives should be first. So they're laid bare. They're out in the open, and you work with the cons first. Okay? These I call the psychological fear factors, or the fear-based psychological factors that stop me from beginning. Whatever the goal is, whatever the work happens to be. It's the psychological factor that is still implanted as a virus that is telling you why you shouldn't or can't start. Every one of these is based in fear. There is not one that is based in love. Every one, it won't matter how many you list. You could list them forever. You could list 20 quadrillion of these reasons. And every single one from now till the end of time will be based in a form of fear or low vibratory consciousness, or consciousness that is acting in an involutionary capacity. Every single solitary one that you ever write in that column. I not only promise you this, I 100% guarantee it. It cannot be any other thing. There is no such thing as a reason for not beginning speaking out against evil and tyranny in the world that is not based in fear. Zero. Look at this. Here, let's get it straight. Zero. Forever. Zero. You will never list one of these cons, one of these factors that stops you from beginning the great work that is not a fear-based factor. Every single one of them has, as an underlying form of consciousness, fear. And it will stop you from starting. Therefore, you will remain as what is known in the occult world by the dark occultists, by the Satanists, by the dark Luciferians as the unbegun. Once again, to me, it matters not. It does not matter whatsoever whether you know what's going on in the world. We're not talking about that here. Get that straight. This is about putting your work out in a creative capacity to the world in some form. That's it. This is not about knowing what's wrong with the world. That's the earlier part of the great work. Getting yourself at least through this kind of work, healed through this kind of shadow work, healed to the point where you can say, I'm going to make a contribution to the work in some form or fashion. Then go out and do it in a practical manner by building your skill sets and accomplishing goals. So let's look at some of these in the time remaining. The first type of fears that shadow work will expose when you start laying down. So you should start with that blank slate and you should just lay down all of your concerns. Now, I've told people I'm not going to have people live on the air for the first doing of this, which will probably run into at least the second half of the next show, right? I'm not going to just have people list everything because, first of all, the list could be endless. There's so many reasons and excuses people make for this that it will go on and on and on ad infinitum. There'll be 100,000 reasons or more. I've done this with people in private one-on-one sessions in the past, and I already have those lists that probably aggregate in the amount of hundreds of reasons, literally in the 100s in numbers, okay? And then I've taken them and I've boiled them down to 4 main types. They all fall into the same categories. So there's 4 categories of cons that if you do this as a social experiment with people, you will find that this is what you'll hear over and over and over and over and over again, okay? Is you'll hear general categories of fear factors. You'll hear one and then like you go to number 100 and you're like, that's almost identical with one, but just changed in a slight way. Number 150 will be in that same category. Then, numbers 2, 10, and 175 will be in category number 2. And they all start to file into 4 main groups, 4 main categories. If you had to file them in file folders, you'd have 4 big file folders of types of fear factors. And here's number 1. The first, and I'm going to go from the ones that are actually the deepest seated in the psychology, the deepest seated ones psychologically, okay? And they're the ones that are about who you are. Not about what you know how to do, not about what you have available to you, etc. in the world, resource-wise. It's about what you believe you're capable of. It's about who you believe deep down in your own psychology you are as a being. And you know what? Those characteristics are the deepest bullshit stories that we tell ourselves. And they fall into the category of I'm not blank enough. Fill in the blank. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not skilled enough. I'm not motivated enough, etc., so forth and so on. So unfortunately, folks, that's all the time that we're going to have for this issue of What on Earth is Happening. But guess what? We're going to unpack next week far more about this shadow work and go into all the different categories of how we con ourselves out of doing the great work and becoming a creator in our reality to help end slavery here on Earth. Tune in next week. We'll complete this chart. In addition to the cons, we'll list all the pros of doing the great work, and then we'll go into your calls where even maybe you can tell us some of your reasons why you either have started doing the great work or haven't started doing it yet. Thank you for watching this week. I'll see you right here next week. And remember, folks, government is slavery. We'll see you right here next week.